cover your ears. Hey, good evening and welcome to Raconteurs News. I was going to sing at that first bit. I don't know why. I think I was going to sing a song's been in my head. You know, you get a song and it's in your head and it's stuck all day. It's that it goes A E I O U you fucking bastard. I think that's what it does because it's in my head all day. Anyway, good evening. How are you on this day? Someone put it's a cold evening. It is a bit chilly, isn't it? It's been a bit chilly. Fucking heat wave was supposed to start yesterday. Fucking Africa fucking thing that were coming. Fucking Toto were bringing Africa over. And it were going to be we're going to be like really warm, and it's not. It's got colder. Really, it's fucking crap. Aren't they? They're just lying bastards, just to get you to comply. Yeah, just to get you comply. Oh, there's going to be an heat wave in 6 weeks. Oh, we best all comply, and then we'll be allowed out for it. We'll be able to be allowed to go out for something to eat in the heat wave that's been donated to us from Africa. Some Africans have donated it for us. That's pretty much sums that fucking shit up, doesn't it? Again, it's a little incentive for you. I told you at the time. I'm also going to tell you. I told you at the time about some ages ago, and I've been looking for the broadcast, and I was talking to Uni about it. I think I was talking to Uni. Uni were on show, and we were taking piss and having a laugh and what have you. So when I talk about it, just if you can remember it, if you can remember which show it were, I'd love to, because this is something that this is what happens. The cancer cure thing, and what happens 2 weeks later? They've got this tablet out that kills cancer cells and leaves healthy cells alone, and that's 2 weeks after. About 2 weeks after I predicted it, they're going to give us a cure for cancer. So you can see what they're going to do. I'll tell you what it's about in a minute. Let me just say hello to the people in the chat room. Hello to people not in the chat room who decide that it's not for them. That's cool. Good evening, Matt Caddy, and I bet Donna will be there as well. So evening to you too. Stu is there. He says, looking good, Jace. Thank you very much. Uni Black sister. Fuck's sakes, it was hot. Evening, Uni. Put a jumper on today. Going to be a long winter. Do you know, fucking heat wave. We got the heat wave, said Uni. Right, there you go. That's what he thinks. So he thinks they got the heat wave. He got the heat wave and we didn't. But we were supposed to, weren't we? Uni leaver. Oh dear. Heath, yes, my old mate. But anyway, I want to talk about the tragic events that happened in, we're told happened in Plymouth on Thursday last week, I think it were. Really quite upsetting. But I did notice that there were a lot of threes. I think the kid was 3 years old, and the bloke with him, with the child, was 33. I think there were a lot of number bods that were looking at that. I don't know. I said to you a few months ago, I can't remember when. I can't even remember whether it was this year or last year. But I said there's a new. They've created a new class of people, and these guys call themselves incels. Because I asked Uni, I said, "Are you one?" Incels, involuntary celibate, and so they're like men that this were being prepared for people, that then something had happened. See, I'd not heard it before this time. I don't know whether it was this year, might have been this year or last year, but Uni, I'll open up for anyone to come on. Yeah, so it's not hard to see if you notice things that happen, these little crappy stories or something that catches your eye on social media, and you've not seen it before, and it involves a group of people. Now, these people have all it does is it don't take much to start it up. This will be a Soros thing. So what? I mean, this guy were nuts apparently. Uni isn't an incel; he's just a very naughty boy, says Heath. Yeah, but you see, this is a class of people now that are going to get blamed for things, right? It's the people who are mainly women haters. They blame women, apparently. This is how it's set up. They blame women for their inadequacies, and how women want something that's not realistic, and they find themselves ugly and losers, basically. I mean, I can't. This. I mean, whether this guy's got a gun license or not. I mean, that's. What more can you do with gun licenses? People who live in country need to use guns. There needs to be guns. Gun licenses need to be given out, and if the gun license and the gun falls into the wrong hands, in which case it did it. I think he shoot his mother, and then went out. He went outside and then shot a bunch of people. I don't know. I'm sure everybody's jumped on it. Anybody that's into this investigation type stuff, will be on it, and will have a conclusion at some point. So we'll see where that goes. But like I did say, that I did warn you. I did say that there's this group, and they're called incels. And I said that they seem to me to have been set up so that they can start, so that there will be a terror, a terror incident, or something like this. I mean, they put terrorism in people's minds. This is what scares people. They said it's not related to terrorism. I mean, why say that? So, you know, they could say it's not related to drug dealing, or it's not related to fucking smuggling people in. It's not terror related. It's yeah, there was meant to be a 3-year-old killed. Yeah, there was. Like I say, I've not looked into it, but I did watch the when the police came out and did a press conference the following day. And the first question, when they were answering questions, the first question I think came from the BBC reporter and said, "Is this anything to do with the far right?" I mean, what? You know, aren't we? Don't you want to know more? Wouldn't you be asking about the victims? What do we know about the victims? Is there any more you could tell us about the victims, the people that have been affected by this? No. You don't want to do that. You don't want to ask that. It's BBC. We're right wing. How to do it right wing? I mean, what? I just don't. They call themselves fucking journalists. Today's tipple, by the way, is Schlur. Remember that? Used to have it on Sunday when we were kids. We'd have a bottle of Schlur and we'd feel like we were drinking wine, which is probably why I'm now having to drink Schlur again. Drunk too much wine. Yeah, I thought Tommy Robinson had bought his own island back now. He's not anywhere, is he? He's not in the script at the moment. And it is all a big script. You can see that you could see, fuck off, Heath. This is a wank. Oh, God. You can see that the pieces on the table, the movie has moved on. Now it's moved on. COVID, for me, it's dead. It's dead. Apart from in Australia and New Zealand, here it's dead. It's gone. They're talking about it being gone. COVID gone. So COVID's gone out that way. So what happens next? Afghanistan. I mean, if you saw that, let me get the video of it and I'll play it. And you watch this. Let me find the video of it. US plane Afghanistan. It's been turned down to really now. I mean, they've caught a lot out because there were a lot in the earlier video. Let me just play this one. Hey, dear. So yeah, so Afghanistan. I mean, for me, this is made up. We've got stories at Taliban pictures and stories of the Taliban on the dodgems. So they're on some dodgems. That's what they're doing. They're on some dodgems. Fucking hell, that's what you do, innit? You've just got your country back. You've just kicked out the No, it's fucking not working. Wanker. Wank thing. But the one I just looked at, hi Thomas, the one that I've just looked at is not like the one. It looks like it's been cut down a lot, because the one had people jumping about and cheering and what have you. And they were closer to camera. It was like they were trying to get into camera and the jumping and cheering. And I thought, yeah. So you know, it didn't look like what it would portray as. And plus, I don't think Americans would have. I don't think that plane would have been moving, you know, with that danger on it. I don't think so. Tony has put, did anyone else think of the song It's Raining Men while watching the videos of Kabul airport fiasco? Oh dear. I also thought they screamed Allah Akbar when they fell. I'm just curious. Of course you are. You're curious about other cultures and other people, and you're interested in their culture and their history. I mean, whilst they may shout Allah Akbar because that is God is great as the plummeting to floor, an English bloke would go wee, because that's what I'd do. I mean, if you fell out of a fucking plane, you might as well just go wee, ain't you? That's what you do when you're having fun. You depict yourself with another people. Peterloo is well hidden in case we repeat it. The Peterloo massacre, didn't see that. Look at all the shit that predicted 9/11. Yeah, it's hindsight's a good thing. There were particular The Simpsons and Back to the Future and that sort of thing. But I mean, for me, I don't know. I don't know whether this is predictive programming. I don't know what it is. Because we got the 2015 where they went, and it weren't as good as it were on Back to the Future, were it? 2015. In fact, it was wank. Afghans need to superglue themselves to the plane. Fucking hell, but Jesus Christ, it's a long way to go. And it's going to get cold where they're going. They're going to freeze to death, aren't they? It's just, it's terrible. If they, but I see that's it with the media. I don't believe a fucking word they say. Look at what they did with this heat wave thing. It might not even happen now. What was that? I think for Friday. Yeah, it is a movie. It is a movie. Yeah, and let's hope it ain't happening. Because if that's real, where are they going on the plane? I don't know. I think they were going back to America, weren't it? So it's quite a long flight. Fucking hell. Freeze to death. I know a few people have done that, stowed away. But they've been well prepared. And they've got in the wheel well. So, war is a hoax, the Fed psyop, or is all of us sharing the federal TV programming for free? War is a hoax. The Fed psyop is all of us sharing the federal TV programming for free. Interesting point there, Sean. I mean, there are a number of things, aren't there? It's clearly a fucking film. it is clearly like, you know, they're making it up as they go along. What do we do next? Oh, what have we got waiting in wings? What can we have? I mean, Joe Biden said that all Americans, he wants all American troops and civilians out of Afghanistan by September 11th. I mean, you know, by the 20th anniversary, the thing got us into Afghanistan. 20 years later, and all them bombs, if you believe it, or if you don't, like Sean says. But Biden is senile. He's got to have he can't even finish a sentence without forgetting what. I don't think I will be weeing falling out of a plane, Jason. Your idea of fun is next level, mate. Well, you're gonna die anyway, aren't you? You might as well go wee. Get somebody. Somebody might be falling outside of you, and you might give them their last laugh. You know, it's all there. It's all things I'm banking. You know, I've met the guy who's falling to his certain death. Laugh, you know, on his way down. You see, that's what you need to do. You need to. That's how you need to embrace life. Did you notice the number on the plane on the Afghan runway? No, I didn't know. Are you going to enlighten us, Webby? But did it say 9/11? Oh, hang on. Oh, blocks. Fuck off. Computers. Oh. Yeah, so it's been a weird week in certainly in Britain and in America. Oh, fuck off. Yeah, it's been 666. Is that what he said? I will be weeing and pooing on the way down, lol. Thank you, Nick. 11:09. Fucking hell. Somebody put that in earlier on. I can remember seeing that number in. Reality is what you, the individual soulmate, gets it be. It's your world. Well, it don't feel like my world at the moment, but I was guessing Jace. Oh, right, okay. Ignore the movie. Sold. You're right. You've got look. If you're watching it from where I'm watching it from, you know, it's they can just get on with it. They'll not have my blessing or anything, but you know, it's always going to fall. They all fall. All great dynasties, empires fall. We've seen it over the. Unless they fucking lied about that, just so that we think they're going to fall, and then we. Yeah. See, that could be misinformation or fake news. Right. Anyway, I'm going to put. I'm going to put the link in if you want to come on. If you want to come on and say what you've got to say, have something to say. talk about this week. It's been a crazy fucking week. I mean, the Taliban on dodgems. We're not even in the middle of the week, and I think that's the top prize. That you've got Taliban on dodgems. That were on Yahoo News. Incredible. I'm fucking doing on dodgems. They'd be fucking all jumping about and firing the guns because they got rid of invaders. Spanish Chicky says, Brom, if you go on, slow the fuck down, mate. Scotsman are prohibited from live chats, lol. Okay. Don't forget logos, Regina. Symbols and signs, yeah. In another dimension, I'm not misogynist. Okay. We've got a Jew who's just joined us.
What's up,
shouldn't take long. Come on, this fucking thing's slow as fuck. Evening, I'm a Jew.
Yeah, what's up? What's up, Jason?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
We can't hear you. We can't see you. We don't even know if
Can you hear me now?
a Jew. Are you a real Jew? Are you a fake Jew? Or are you just yourself? Yeah, okay. You might need to be on. Tell us your story, Uni.
Can you hear me?
Kevin Street. If you don't know Uni, he's American correspondent. He's over there in Washington State. Anybody else as well, if you want to come on, just jump on.
Jason can't hear me, apparently.
We can get us anybody if you want. We can hear you. Oh, right, okay. Oh. That's
man, weird. Jason always having trouble when
there we go. There you go. I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Yo, what's up, Jason? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Bit frustrated because of YouTube shenaniganry, but doing all right. I'm getting by.
YouTube shenanigans. What you doing on YouTube?
A few weeks ago, I had an interview with James Perloff. I uploaded it to my channel. It literally got deleted less than fucking 12 hours after I uploaded it. And of course, you get a strike and all that, but it doesn't end there though. Not only did I get a strike, but YouTube shadow banned me. I wasn't able to watch videos on my account. Like I could click on a video, but as soon as it clicked, the app would crash. It would only happen on the app version of YouTube. If I did it through the browser, it would work perfectly fine. So YouTube is pulling some really shady shit. But then again, we already knew that already. I'm not surprised. Just fucking pathetic.
Well, there you go. That's everyone's having shenanigans. I'm not doing bad, me. They don't seem to bother me. So I thought with so much stuff that I've said, and I listened to other people, and Mark Devlin just says the V, and I've just said fucking vaccine because that's what it is. But Mark's got more heat than me. Probably, well, he's going to have more heat than me, and he's got 50,000 subscribers. So he's going to get more heat. But yeah.
And
you've been leaving me alone.
Well, if I guarantee you, if we talk about stuff like hydroxychloroquine with zinc, being able to, which is what everyone's saying is actually able to fix this fucking COVID shit. But of course, As soon as you mention stuff like that, they ban you. The head of the health department gets banned off of YouTube. Frickin' Ron Paul got banned off YouTube. Its censorship game is absolutely just on turbo.
Yeah, it is now. What you're listening to? Whale song?
Well, birdsong and rivers and trees and stuff like that. Hi guys, am I broadcasting? CQDX, CQDX, CQDX. This is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation.
Good evening, the Outer Hebrides. How is your weather?
Oh, fair to middling. Grey, dull, harp-induced dome in order to keep the sheeple going onto the trains and paying their taxes and standing 6 feet apart and getting them in the self-injected in case they need to go to the toilet.
Right. Is your part of the Hebrides close to the shipping area, Dogging Bank?
No, Dogger Bank, it's not Dogging, oh, fucking hell, dude, it's Dogger Bank, it's not Dogging Bank. Jesus, you've never been a good listener to Radio 4, that's for sure, and you've never been to sea in a boat. Malin, let's start a competition in the chat. Can anybody name all the districts, like starting in the fucking clockwise circle that they go, before they end up at Hebrides? Anyway, guys, no. I want to draw your attention to one thing. This is important. This is, like Phil the Greek that was married to Liz. I hope he's now come back as a virus that promptly disappeared up his own arsehole in a puff of logic, because viruses don't exist. Germ theory, complete myth. Anyway, do you know what this is? Now listen, guys. The Greeks got wiped out by the Romans about 200 years BC. Do you know where the last biggest enclave of Greek people in the universe was? I'll save you Googling. It's called Bactria, which is now Afghanistan and North India. The Greeks created Buddha. Buddha was statued and carved out of Zeus and a whole bunch of other Greek shit, because the Greeks went over there with Alexander way back in the day. The dragons and the leftovers from his army, and that's part of history that they don't really tell you. And we all think that the Indians are the Khyber Pass and Carry On Kenneth Williams and a whole bunch of other, kebab selling, curry making, shop owning sons of bitches. But you see, these cultures were far more advanced than us. Why? Because the Greeks set them up. And everything we say is how many times? Here's another worldwide question for Google. How many people have invaded Afghanistan? How many people actually conquered Afghanistan?
Nobody conquered Afghanistan. Nobody will ever conquer Afghanistan.
High five on that one.
The Russians went in and got their arse kicked by Mujahideen.
Yeah. They sent in 200,000 troops beaten by a bunch of camel guys and running around in mules and mortars from the mountains. And who gave them that? What was his name? Brzezinski. He's the one that created Al Qaeda. That's when Jimmy Carter. You see, Jimmy Carter, George the Guidestones. Anyway, this is all historical stuff, but it all goes back to basically who created who. Like the British, the Germans, and shit like that. The Greeks actually created Afghanistan and India. And see, when you realize that, you think, oh, well, hey, wait a minute, the Greeks were the clever cunts, allegedly, because they invented philosophy and all that kind of bollocks. Or so we're led to believe. I mean, we, the fucking sheeple, and the Vikings were running around fucking raping sheep. The Scots and the Picts were running around painting themselves blue and screaming for freedom and raising their kilts at every opportunity. That's what history has taught us, or it didn't teach us. We found out through the years.
I agree with that, because Greek still has, and Greek is still plenty relevant. And for anyone that doesn't know, Greek is the main reason why Hitler ended up losing the war, because of Mussolini's fucking dumbass who decided to come in and provoke them, poke the stick, and make them join the Allies side, which that wasn't a very smart idea, to say the least.
Again, my American friend, I would just like to point out, for the benefit of the tape, that history keeps repeating. This was planned back in 1603, okay? Guy called John Dee and Edward Kelly said to Queen Elizabeth, hey, girl, we can make you an empire if you do as you're told. And she did. Because she was actually a guy, but never mind that. That's too much conspiracy theory for people to believe in. But yeah, everything. Listen, man, it's just a repeat. The Spanish flu, 1918. This flu, 2018. Dude, you know, you go back into history. The more you see, the more you'll realize it's a repeat pattern. They call it Jubilee, 7 years personal debt, 70 years for country debt, 700 years for whatever. You know, it's all history.
No, I mean we sorry, you Taylor. I'll call you Taylor. If I remember.
Hang on.
I forgot what I'm going to say. Go on. Let Uni go on.
Yeah, and I mean the English royal family. I think it's very interesting how they're one of the few royal families that has been allowed to exist throughout all the countless who have been slaughtered over the past couple hundred years by the Freemasons. I mean,
It's
the
a
whole reason
bloodline.
for. Oh, sorry.
Go on. No.
Oh,
I just checked your name. You're a Jew. Shalom, salam, namaste. And anyway, that's a different conversation. The English they're not even English. The only reason that they run this country is because of a woman called Elizabeth Bowes Lyons, Alexander Mackenzie, the Wolf of Badenoch. She's got his bloodline in her, and that's why they were allowed to take control of this island, because of the bloodlines. And it is all to do with the bloodlines, which they try and hide. And David Icke, don't even go there. Complete waste of 11 hours worth of your money. Listen to same old shit Madame Blavatsky wrote about moon-based alphas and a whole bunch of other stuff too. This is 2021. We're living in a movie. The planes that took off, they were revving down the fucking engines as everybody was climbing onto the plane, okay? Anybody that's a pilot will know when a fucking jet engine's at idle or when it's fucking gearing up to fucking take off. You've been in a plane, you'll know this, okay? Simple as. Doesn't fucking take any logic. As for the rest of it, people falling off airplanes, get a grip. Are you really going to glue yourself onto the side of an airplane? You're going to run out of oxygen before you freeze to death, probably, but that's beside the point, you know. There's been people falling from the skies hanging onto the wheels at Heathrow way back in the day. I'm sure you've heard of that, you know. But again, do we believe this? Or is it all terror stories? The Afghanistan thing, oh, wait a minute. Wow, fuck me, this injection shit isn't going too well. We need a big distraction. What can we do? Hey, yeah, let's bring back Afghanistan. And this time, they haven't got the Saddam Hussein potential to launch the weapons of mass destruction that's going to wipe out your existence in 45 minutes that Tony Blair fucking made millions out of.
Ah, yeah, Tony Blair.
Yeah, Tony B. Liar. Anyway, do you know that what's her name? Gemma Ellis, blonde, beautiful blonde bloody lawyer, smart girl. She got kicked off Twitter last night. Why? Joe Biden's allegedly, and I say allegedly because it's all bollocks, but Joe Biden is taking 22,000 Afghanistanis into America, across the wall. They don't even need security checks. So Jenna Ellis wrote, hey, terrorist threat or what? They kicked her off Twitter. And yet, the Taliban, you go onto Twitter tonight, you can talk directly to the Taliban, and their Twitter account's still fucking live and kicking. So what does that tell you about Twitter and the media? Hi, YouTube. Sorry, I haven't even said anything wrong yet so far. But then again,
you have said a lot of things, though. You've said a lot more than I've already said.
I already talked shit about YouTube,
well,
so you know.
Well, listen, man. Again, it's all to do with the same thing. DARPA. The people. Bill Gates in 1974-75 bought 4 supercomputers. This is public domain knowledge. This is not conspiracy. Just go and Google it. Guess who sold Bill Gates the computers? The American military. No. Well, yeah, dude. Who financed the American military to become the American military? Do you get me? Who made who?
Yeah.
Like the AC/DC song, do. Is it the Council of Foreign Relations Trilateral Commission? But you know,
exactly.
Northrop Grumman. Yeah, you take your pick. Raytheon, blah blah. All the school shootings we hit upon them earlier on. Dunblane, another complete and absolute fucking created fucking myth, a lie. That's why Andy Murray got to be the top tennis player in the world, because he was at school that day and he was saying, no, this doesn't fucking add up, because the Australian school teacher didn't exist on paper. The car journeys, the times, the roundabouts. If you've ever driven through Stirling, even the police had to agree it couldn't be fucking done, But they didn't tell you that in the movie at the time. And this goes back to the fucking European Union general who was fucking financing the ordnance to come into Britain. Gordon Brown's tied into that one too, because he fucking... Anyway, you see what I'm saying, guy? This is just all so interconnected. When you see the jigsaw puzzle, you're just going, nah, take me to the funny farm. I'm ready to be injected with every vaccine you can give me. I hope it makes me higher than I am just now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, honestly. And at this point, it's like, it's just like, what can you expect when it all comes back down to the fucking Freemasons and their fucking masters, Because Freemasonry was hijacked from the 1700s, about the time America was formed, which was only formed by the Rothschild agents because they wanted to freaking abolish monarchies. They want their... What's your name and what state are you in? I mean, apart from being intelligent and bright, I mean, what part of America do you hail from originally, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, no, it's fine. I've been in the same part of America all my life. I'm Washington State.
Oh, nice place, way up in the fucking wildlife with lots of fucking prairies and blue skies from fucking coast to coast. I like it. Right, listen, it's as simple as this. Masonry, America, Unum Sanctum happened in 1302. Yeah, have you heard of Rosslyn Chapel? Obviously, I hope you've heard of the Da Vinci Code, right? Rosslyn Chapel was finished long before Christopher Columbus sailed, and yet Rosslyn Chapel, in its fucking grand structure up on the roof, has got acorns and wheat that they didn't discover until they discovered America. So I don't know if that tells you something that they've been lying to us about history, but what I was saying in 1998, and this is direct quote from 1998, America was created as a two-tier experiment in capitalism without a monarchy. And for that, they replaced the two-tier Roman Senate thing where the president becomes Caesar, which is also known as Kaiser, and Hitler, same thing. It's all the same words. They just changed them throughout history, yeah? America was created as an experiment in capitalism without the bloodline monarchy. But having said that, if you go to every single American president... apart from the first one, who was a black guy, but don't tell anybody that, because the first 8 actually they don't talk about. Washington was actually the 9th president, but you see what I'm saying here? Yeah, it's all about control of the mind, control of the masses. They created the newspapers. J.P. Morgan bought all the newspapers. He bought the government, the Titanic, and it's still happening today. And with the latest one, and everybody's sitting here in this room tonight, this Plymouth thing. Ollie Damagard, he probably predicted that from the fucking last one down at London Bridge, because it's all to do with the numbers, it's to do with the psyops, they have to show you, the Satans are bound to show you in plain sight what's going to happen.
Exactly, yep. They have to.
They have to. Dude, it's their oath. It's the fucking oath, and this is how you can beat them, because they're sworn to that. They can't break that oath, because if they do, it's like if they do, the whole of the fucking universe uncreates. Yeah, they are bound to their oaths, and that's why you fucking hold them to account. And the British Accredited Registry, the bar system, they put their oath on one definition of the Bible. It's called the 1611 King James Cambridge edition, because by 1642 they thought, fuck me, there's too much information in this, we need to edit a whole bunch of this shit and not let them know that.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can. Sorry, Jason, man.
Well, you know what you say they have to tell us. They have to tell us.
Yeah.
What are they telling us?
What's going to happen? What's going to be? Listen.
Let me fucking ask you a bastard question. For fuck's sake.
I'm smoking dope now.
God, I'm smoking fucking dope. If I weren't, I'd be climbing walls. Right.
Go on.
So what I'm saying is, what are they telling us is going to happen when they by killing a 3-year-old kid and killing 6 people. What are they telling us? With that? I mean, it's easy to say, oh, they have to tell us, they have to show us, they have to do it. Yeah, they do. We know that they leave clues and they do that. But if they're trying to tell us what's going to happen, I don't get what they're trying to tell us by mowing down and killing, with gunfire.
That's if that even happened.
That's just to keep you scared of the Muslim backpacker, scared of your neighbour, scared of the guy that's wearing the Manchester United thing with a knife in his back pocket, the 3-year-old, the Lindbergh baby, John Binney Ramsey. Come on, get me? The Manson family, another complete fiction and creation. And I could bring some in. Neil Sanderson. I know that Paul Webster probably knows who Neil Sanderson is, but he's been on with Rich Hall, who she's a beautiful woman. We met in Wales. You get me?
Neil Sanders has been on this show many times.
Well, sorry, Jason, I didn't know that. I wasn't paying attention.
He's almost less popular. He's almost less popular than you.
Nah, dude. Listen, man. I work at it. I have deliberately set out to be the Antichrist. Do you know the word anti means similar to, but don't even go there because anti sounds like the opposite of everything, like a person, it's a dead corporation, and if you understand. So anyway, do you get me, guys, what I'm saying? Neil is a very erudite Neil educated me into a thing called the Hoax brothers and to do the, listen, America, you know the cans of Budweiser, the mountains that are on that, they're actually up in Telluride in Colorado, and they tie into the Koch brothers. And if Jesus is going to come, but listen, you know what? Listen, this is how fucking deep Neil Sanderson's actually fucking right. See if the Taliban do invade America. I mean, if Iran invaded America, it would take every airplane in the world about 700 fucking weeks to fucking get all the fucking Islamic terrorists into America to wipe out 362 million people with guns when they're just running around with sand and rocks. But Neil Sanderson has predicted, and he's actually mentioned... Sanders. Yeah, okay, I get confused. And anyway, this ties into a far right-wing, and I'm talking about far right-wing Christian group, that when Jesus comes back, you know, it talks about in the Bible and the Dajjal in the Quran, when Jesus comes back, he's going to come back with a fucking AK-47, and these people are going to be ready to stand by Jesus. That's the fucking depth of this programming that we have been led into just now. And Donald Trump's not really helping.
Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck him. Seriously. That.
Dude, West Point.
I don't know how anyone still falls for that freaking... I mean, okay, the one thing I will give him is he does have some fun sound bites, but that's about it.
Well, I thought he was the most entertaining president ever. It's amazing.
He still is. Listen, here's a prediction, right? Again, I'm going back in history on this one. If anybody wants to come onto this Pal Talk program that I've been on since 1998, I've got friends of Donald Trump, Jeff Gordon, Willie Nelson, and a whole bunch of other people, including the wife of the guy that runs the fucking CDC. And that's a true story too. In 2004, they were saying, okay, Scotsman, yeah, you can speak the Arabic, you know about the Quran, you know about history, what's going to happen next? 2004, I says, they're going to bring in a nigger, the nigger's going to fuck it up, and then they're going to bring a blonde, blue-eyed Aryan supremacist to half fix it, they're going to bring a doddery old fart to fix it, then the blue-eyed fucking Aryan, young fucking Tony Blair, Peter Mandelson, Keith Starmer, David Cameron, the media middleman that no personality, no fucking nothing, whereas Tony Benn, Dennis fucking, what's his name? Yeah, these are the politicians that we remember. They're going to bring in the mediocre middlemen, and then it's game over. It's going to be called mediatization. And the UK fucking coined that phrase a few years ago too. I was saying that way back in the day. And God knows he's my witness. That's a true story. I told him Obama was going to come in and fuck everything up. I didn't realize the blonde, blue-eyed Aryan supremacist was going to be Donald Trump. If you go and check out his Hessian background. And here's another interesting thing. Did you know that once there was a plane crashed in the middle of the Scottish Highlands driven by a royal family member, that the real Rudolf Helsebord, not the one that died in Spandau prison 80 years later with different scars and different tattoos and different marks, but it was a good idea to tell the people at the time, especially when all the Nazi war criminals were down in South America making twins all over the place. Podesta's father... Sorry, Jason.
I'd appreciate if you don't use the N-word, particularly because
I know. Listen, okay, you're Jason. Jason,
no, listen to me.
Yeah, man.
It'll get picked up. If it gets picked up, I'm going to get an hit, and I prefer not to. No, Jason, you've come on again, right? And it's like your head's full of information, but you just
Jason, I won't use
it out like a pick and mix.
I won't, Jason. I will not use it. I know the peccadillos of YouTube, and the last couple of times I've been on here, forgive me, because especially with the copyright music, YouTube, there are certain words that I now know that you can't say, and I'm not even going to try and hyphenate them or spell them out, but can I just say that word was invented by the Scottish people. Etymology.org, Googling that word, it's Scottish and it means black person, okay? So, you know, I actually once said this to a bunch of 8,000 people in Africa, in the middle of Africa, and they all stood and applauded me. That's a true story too.
Look, I don't think YouTube are going to be fucking standing and applauding me, are they?
No, but they can't do it, dude. Listen.
No matter where it's come
yeah,
from.
but listen,
whether it's a fucking Scottish word, or whether it's a fucking English word, or whether it's a fucking Welsh word, I don't care. It's not. Don't use it.
Exactly. But having said that, if they do try and invoke any kind of strike, we were using it in an educative way. We were not. Listen, every single living entity on the face of this realm, whether it's a planet, whether it's a ball, whether it's flat, whether it's triangular, whether it's the back of a turtle, every single thing that lives, breathes, and thinks is an equal creation under the Creator. And above that is Genesis 1:26, and it states that clearly. And this is why we go back to talking about the law and winning with your oath. Genesis 1:26 says that God gave man, ipso ergo facto woman, control over everything that climbs, breathes, fishes, swims, crawls, and everything on the earth we got dominion over. Genesis 1:26. Every single version of the book's got that in it. Yeah. Now, where does a dead corporation fall into that category? And we are letting dead corporations tell us what to do, when to pay tax, what to pay tax on. 1907 in California, they got bicycles. Oh no, you need to get a license for that. You have to pay 7 cents to fucking drive that thing down the street. You can have a horse, but nah, 7 cents for the bike. You get me? That's what I'm saying, yeah? This is a reality of where we're at today. And if you accept the terms and conditions of their bullshit or pretend authority over you, that's when you've lost. Stay independent. Stay under the Creator, Yahweh, Buddha, Ngui Malstein. Take your pick of all his names. But there's a matrix maker that created the whole of the IP address system and everything like that. And they know that. And that's why they're bound by their oaths too. And they can't forsake these oaths. And, oh, guys, sorry. Anyway, I'm going to shop now. Can I give you an update on Phil McConnell next?
Right, shut up. Update on Phil McConnell coming up. Anyway, Taylor.
Yes.
You tell me something. Talk to me about something. Or is your head as fucking scrambled as mine? I know it looks like an egg, but it won't be scrambled.
No, that's understandable. I mean, I always like learning new information about things and learning people's take on things as well. Even, you know, it's like we can't be biased towards certain views. We have to be willing to listen to others, unless, of course, they're being broadcast on the fucking television. Then we can just tell them to go, suck a dick. But you mentioned Jimmy Carter earlier. I will give Jimmy Carter one thing, and that I do respect his views on Palestine, about the whole belongs to Israel. I mean, belongs to fucking that came out wrong. It belongs to the Arabs. Belongs to the Palestinians, not and Israel should just fuck off.
Would you like a secret? Would you like a real high level secret that even the San Franciscans don't know? The Franciscans run the Jesuits, by the way. Everybody's heard of the Jesuits, because they're the bad guys, but the Franciscans run the Jesuits. It's the same oath. Google it. But anyway, if you ever go into a court of law and you're faced with a death penalty, if you say to the judge, I am a child of Israel, you'll walk. There's power. There's power in the I ams, and Israel, ISIS, Ra, and El. Do you hear what I'm saying? Yeah, they are bound by oaths that they cannot forsake. You listen. There are 100 people in this chat room tonight that can go into the court where the judge walks out once he comes back in a different format of law. The third time he comes back, he's a judge. You can take your life. That's the one word that will defeat all of them. I am a child of Israel, and we, the Britain, first coined in 1603, we are children of Israel. If you go and Google like the fucking Game of Thrones, where we got chased up and down the country and the Gaul sacked Rome and the Goths and the Celts and the Vandals and all that bollocks. True story. That's the shit that they don't want you, the common son reader, knowing in case you actually believe it and use it. Because it's all about belief. You can go and read all the theories about secure party creditors, sovereign people, but if you don't actually realize who you are as a living, breathing entity, the individual power you've got, you're Charlemagne. You've got more fucking authority than the king and the queen. Who are they? Some bastard claimed thousands of years ago with a piece of paper, hey, we own your bloodline, you're our bitches. We're brought up to believe that they're bitches. You get a social security number, SIN number in America when you're 16. You didn't fucking ask for it, but you got it. And hey, cool, I can use this as identification. But your birth certificate says, no, man, you can't use this as a means of identification because it's ours, not yours. You get me?
Yeah.
You believe in who you...
Now we're losing the royal, and now we're losing monarchies.
No, listen, bro. We have not lost the war. We have already won this war. They're the ones that are ramping up this war faster and faster and faster because it's like it's written in the book. Devil knows that his time is near. So this is why we're getting all this shit thrown at us as fast as we can. The original plan was to close down the internet a long time ago, but they suddenly realized, fuck me, there's too many white cunts out there. So let's create Facebook where they can actually fucking tell us their personalities and get them to click what they like and get, that's what the internet was. But anyway, that's what's happening today. And guess what? They still can't control us because we, the people, and that's the three most important words underneath the Bible, the Quran, the Baghdad Gita, the Torah. We the people, because we the people are the autonomy. A corporation is a government, a dead corporation. Government doesn't exist. Queens and kings don't exist. They're pieces of paper. They're fictional titles. But me,
that's exactly right.
And every single one of us, we can go out and link arms together. 1 million of us and stand in silence in the middle of every street. You don't even need to.
Yeah, what the fuck is the king or the president gonna do? What the fuck is the king or president gonna do?
Yeah, America doesn't have enough bullets to kill the American citizens. They don't. That's why they're desperately trying to buy up enough bullets to kill it. They don't have enough bullets. Britain, let's see how far that goes. I mean, we've seen in some European countries the police are actually taking off their fucking uniforms and standing shoulder to shoulder with their own bloody families. You know, the police in this country, they're drinking the same fucking poison water that we are, and they're standing in lows protecting the fucking fracking companies from doing it. God rest Ian Crane's soul, beautiful man. He even started wearing my hat after I met him. That's a true story too.
Yeah, they're all are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let's see some Taliban on Dodgems. There you go.
What the fuck am I looking at? Bumper cars, bro. They have bumper cars in Afghanistan?
Yeah. Look, he's texted this one here.
They drive over a rock there and they explode. Why? Because the CIO showed them how to make bombs and pack the ordnance underneath the ground so they could actually do it.
Yeah, it's like who gave them fucking the Taliban to begin with? And
exactly, especially
CIA.
When the Russians walked into Afghanistan in 78, 79, who gave them the fucking mortars to fire back? Nah, it wasn't Brzezinski. And it was, because he's got a daughter that works in one of the main news agencies now. That's the guy that created the word Al-Qaeda, which basically means the list, him and Jimmy Carter. And, dude, forgive me for saying this, but I could cause a controversy tonight by saying Jimmy Carter is actually John F. Kennedy.
Oh, I was actually about to ask you about that. Like,
bro, there you go. Ebert County, 1979. Rosie Crucian Christian. This guy walks into a Masonic stone shop and says, "Hey, listen, man, I want you to type this stuff into stone, go and plant it up there in the hill. I'm paying you cash. Get it done by this date." And he walked off, and he was never seen again. And you know. That's the reality where we are just now. Sorry, Jason. I'm sorry. I'm not really, I like my American friend here, by the way. This guy actually knows some stuff.
I try my best to learn things, but I consider myself to be a noob when it comes to this stuff because, Me
too. I'm learning something every day. Do you know what I discovered today? I'm actually related to Macbeth. You know,
You're
the
what?
bloody Shakespeare. I'm related to Macbeth, the Shakespearean Hubble Bubble, Toil and Trouble, the Scottish King Macbeth. I'm related to him. He was one of my fucking great grandsisters. Finn. His name was Finlayson, son of Finlay, Finlayson, part of the Clan Chattan, the Black Clan. And that's Scottish. You know, that's true. We've got a fucking coat of arms and heraldry. Touch not the cat, lest the glove. That's the fucking clan motto. And Wallace came from Wallachia, which was Vlad Tepes, Dracula, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. So, you know, I like the internet was there for, apart from downloading porn, there's a whole bunch of other really interesting shit you can learn if you're inclined to go and do so.
Although I think that BitChute is becoming a bit of a fucking. It's becoming a bit of a. I'm starting to dislike BitChute. They're starting to censor people. Like there's this. I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but when I go on BitChute lately, sometimes I click on videos. The video it says the video's there, but it doesn't load, and I can't download it for some reason.
Yeah. To me, BitChute is basically like when they fucking send all the trash off fucking YouTube. Anybody that's been kicked off YouTube, go to BitChute. We'll see how many people follow you. It's a filtration process. Do you get me? And that's why they gave us the internet in the first place. The internet was invented.
Information gathering.
Yeah, the internet was invented in a keylogger. Alan Turing, Bletchley Park. That's why Able Danger had the conference there. Sorry, the AV8 was held in Bletchley Park. Because it was like going, na, because we know what they know. The cloud was invented by a guy called Gordon Welshman, who actually spoke about it, and then he suddenly ended up dead in 1955, you know? You see what I'm saying, man? There is nothing hidden if you actually have the temerity. That's a good word, temerity. If you've got the inclination and the will to actually, wait a minute, I need to question this. Let me go and see. You'll see one side, you'll see the other, you see the middling, Labour, left and liberal. Make up your own mind under who you are under your creator, because it is your creator. It's not my creator. Nobody sees the same rainbow. Nobody sees the same things. We're all unique individuals, hence the fingerprints and the eyeballs and footprints and all that bollocks. You know?
If you don't mind me asking about the JFK Jimmy Carter thing, do you think what about the whole JFK himself also being a member of the originally member of the Roosevelt family, who started that off in the was it Quinten Roosevelt or Kermit Roosevelt, whichever one it was?
Kermit, bro.
Yes.
Bro, the
Kennedy.
Yeah, and you know what? Clinton's one of them too. But seriously, JFK's daddy was best pals with J. Edgar Hoover, who was the most fucking tyrannical leader since fucking Pol Pot.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy. He's fucking jazz.
Yeah. Dude, from fucking 1922 to 1972, Hoover ran everything, running about in his fucking frilly panties and stockings and underskirts. But it was Hoover that sent Kennedy's daddy to become like the fucking ambassador to London. Lived opposite the Royal Albert Hall, quarter of a mile down the road. Big blue plaque on the wall says so. You can see it from the top of the bus. But
and
long story short,
he had mafia connections as well.
The Kennedy family made their money out of fucking bootlegging. That's how they got rich. That's a true story. That's out there, common knowledge too. You think the Kennedy family are all fucking Irish saints?
I thought the Kennedy family made their money from prohibition.
Yeah, they did bootlegging. Bootlegging. Yeah, exactly. They were fucking. They were breaking every rule in the book to make cash. Long story short, JFK Jr. and his brother Bobby, they were our generation-ish. They were our dad's generation. They were the ones that actually fucking ended up in Woodstock. They thought to themselves, you know what? Fuck this shit. This cunts have owned their grandparents since fucking 1666, QQV, dead things, birth certificates. Because everybody in Eton, Harrow and all these places, they get taught this. Private trusts and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, we have to fucking beg the DWP to use our dead names to get fucking $40 a week or whatever it is, yeah? They knew this. So JFK actually grew a set and thought, no, listen, man, I can fucking beat them. But no, ask him, his brother, and his other brother that drowned the prostitute off the end of the bridge. Chap a quick dick. You get me? And JFK Jr., a week before JFK Jr. went splash, he used to work for a thing called the Lucis Trust, the Lucifer Trust, which became the Lucis Trust. On the board of the Lucis Trust was George Herbert Walker Bush, Pappy Bush and Saddam Hussein. Oh, no, not Saddam Hussein. No, yeah, true story. JFK Jr. says to his family, I'm going to run against Hillary Clinton for the Senate in New York. A couple of days later, boom, splat.
Don't mess with the Clintons. That's
Don't mess with it, exactly. But you see, as this goes back to a family called the Pacers, which goes back to Louis XIV, which goes back to like the Merovingian, Carolingian dynasties. It goes back to Jerusalem, basically. And Guy de Bouillon, you know, the goal's called Bouillon. It's after a guy called Guy de Bouillon, who was one of the first Knights Templar that went to Jerusalem and dug up the satanic spells that Solomon had fucking sold his ring to. The one ring to bind them all. And yeah, you were talking about the 666, right? If you go to the middle of the steps on the east side of Jerusalem, right? Get your Google Earth, go on to nautical miles, knots come from Noah, different mileage, knots across sea, land, and air, and go 666.66 miles at 15731 degrees. Guess where you're going to end up? The big black cube in Mecca that they all run around backwards and throw stones at the devil to. The world's other biggest tourist attraction.
What if I don't want to do that, though?
Well, good. Well, guy,
I mean,
listen. No, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it.
I mean, oh God, what's his name? Taylor brought up Clintons, and you went back to Louis XIV. I mean, how far back do you go?
Well, Jason, I am trying to be all encompassing here. Springfield, you know how they talk about Springfield and the Simpsons. Okay, let's bring this back down to everyday sun readers. You know how the Simpsons are so ahead of everything that they've actually predicted everything. It goes back to Springfield, the same family, same connections, Abraham Lincoln, Todd, and so on and so forth. This is all listen, man, they made this script. Shakespeare was writing plays 400 years ago to program the people into a language called English, because there was over 120 different dialects of English speakers throughout whatever happened south of fucking Hadrian's Wall, okay? Down to Kent, down to Cornwall. There was over 120 different dialects. Shakespeare created the English language where persons understood English, and it all became one big fucking party fucking political broadcast on behalf of the sheep. And then they wrote the Bible.
Well, I think the fucking someone put David Icke on crack comes to mind.
No, David Icke, dude, they put David Icke onto Wogan. What a way to sell a fucking shield to the populace. Put him in the biggest fucking prime time show in fucking television history. Back in the 1980s, Wogan was the biggest fucking show that there was. Even Top of the Pops had gone down the hill by then.
Not as bad as Alex Jones, at least.
Oh, dude, Alex Jones is daddy. Alex Jones is daddy, 33rd degree Grand Mason.
I actually did not know that.
Dude, it's true. This goes back to the Sultan's Pool. Sultan's Pool outside Jerusalem. Thing called Moloch, the one that they do up at Bohemian Grove. That's why Alex was probably an innocent victim, but he claims he was an innocent victim. But I kind of never did believe in Alex Jones. I never did believe in anybody that was given free airtime, because the last thing that they want to do is to give airtime to people that are going to make other people think. Yeah, exactly.
Bill Cooper was calling him out back in the 90s.
This is why we are in the drunken minority, because I can claim to say all this and then wake up tomorrow and think, nah, that wasn't me. You see? But having said that, it's to do with blood types too, and I am one of the rarer ones because my bloodline goes back a long, long fucking way. Back to Macbeth, I discovered today, by the way. And that was just today. But the clan Finless and the clan chatting. Anyway, sorry, America, go on.
Don't everybody's line go back a long, long way?
Exactly. Jason, here's a question for you and just everybody out here.
Are you going to let me answer it, or are you going to just like interrupt me?
No, listen, I'm going to answer it. We all come back from Adam and Eve, yeah? One man, one woman, who incidentally, every picture you'll ever see of Adam and Eve have got belly buttons. Why do they have belly buttons if they were made by God? Okay, anyway, listen, let's not even question that, right? I'm not Billy Connolly, but one man and one woman. So if there's one man with one blood type and one woman with blood type, then how the fuck do we have 8? Can you answer me that in a postcard, please? Care of Jeremy Paxman University Challenge.
What? Say that again. Ask me a question again.
There was Adam, who had one
And
blood
Eve.
type. Yeah, who had one blood type. And there's us, who have 8 different blood types.
He's asking how we have 8 different blood types, even though that there was only originally
Well,
1 or 2.
for a
Because Adam and Eve.
start, the Adam and Eve story is a matter of faith, and some people have that faith and some people don't. So I can't.
I agree.
Can't see myself.
Jason, I was you back in these days, and you know what? I discovered, or I learned on the internet, that once before there was a woman called Lilith before Eve, and that really fucking confused shit. And then came Cain and Abel, and then came the widow's son, and I don't know if you're a Freemason, but if you are, poof, bitches, we've got yours that's showing up. You're small cogs in a bigger fucking machine. You don't even know you're there. The widow's son. Okay, guys, that's all I'm saying, yeah? Question everything. I did. It got me into a lot of trouble, and that's why I'm here tonight.
Why did it get you into trouble?
Because I was ordering books in the Outer Hebrides that the local libraries didn't have. It would take them 6 months to arrive.
Damn, you waited 6 months? Yeah, that's patience. I would have said, fuck it.
Broski, that's all I could do. We didn't have the internet.
Oh, yo, those are before.
Yeah, exactly, man. I read Erich von Daniken back in 1983-84, and I actually believed the whole of the NASCAR thing and the pyramids at 19.1 degrees and all of the other things lining up because, you know, you could do that with fucking geometry. You could get your fucking rules that you'd learn, Pythagoras' theorem, and you could actually go into the fake world maps of the flat Earth, pink Earth, square Earth, round Earth, whatever it is. But that shit checked out. And that was before the days of the internet. So that's what made me question. But, you know, the one thing that made me question was my granddad in the Titanic. Because he said, nah. That was deliberate. I was 5. And I was also pals with one of Jeremy Corbyn's best mates. Jeremy Corbyn grew up in the Houses of Parliament under a guy called Donald Stewart, who was part of the original Scottish National Party. When I was 5 years of age, I used to take out a fucking dram of whiskey and a fucking glass of water, and him and my granddad would be sitting in fucking chairs watching the sunset over an island that their ancestors were buried on 400 years beforehand, who were Finlayson's sons of Macbeth. So that's who I am, and that's who I'm proud to be.
Right. I'm sorry I asked, I think. I don't know.
Nah, don't be mad.
Dude,
you're fucking it. You're starting to sound like Johnny Vegas there. Fucking hell, man. He's, I like Johnny Vegas. Is he still on the go?
No, I think.
Oh, speaking of which, somebody said that John Lowe's still alive. I read that in the text from, John, massive fucking hugs and attributions, man. Long may you fucking throw them and conquer. I wrote him off like when he looked old when I met him. That was in fucking 1983 in the fucking Whitburn Miners Welfare Club. 84, not 83. 84.
1980. See when he talks about that, Taylor, he's talking about what we call over here the olden days.
Yeah. Yeah, Taylor, this was back in the days when MPs worked, right? Because I got kicked out of this place called Borstal. I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called Scum, but once upon a time, it was like juvenile hall, that is juvenile detention center is in America, but I got kicked out of this place called Borstal, right? And the DWP wouldn't give me a gyro, so I went down to the local red telephone box and I phoned up this guy called Tam DL, who was like a really, really old Scottish politician. And a few hours later, the DWP became, what, you got 32 quid waiting for you. And 32 quid back then was like about $300 a day. So, yeah, politics worked. And that was Tam DL, the father of the house, the longest serving politician in Britain for a lot of years. And that's when I knew that the system does work if you use it properly. And it does. It's there to work. Do you know why it has to work? It's sworn a fucking oath to work. And that's what I'm saying, guys. You do not realize your own potential. You put them on their oath, they have to perform. and it's all about performance, especially in maritime fucking law.
I know, but sometimes best just to take 65 quid fine, innit?
Nah. Well, listen, if you want to roll over and put your legs in the air and get your tummy tickled, yeah, good. I'm not disagreeing with that. That's what people that read The Sun do. The ones with cognitive dissonance that goes, nah, this can't be really fucking real, but oh, well, I'm going to pretend it is for the sake of my fucking sanity.
Okay, all right, let's see.
Sorry, man.
Stuff going off in the chat room. Some new.
Is there a chat room? I can't see the chat room. All I can see is you. Hey, wait a minute! I just put onto the chat room. Oh, wait a minute! I'm still seeing the same pictures of the Dodgems. Let me refresh it. No, you got a lot. Listen, everybody that's in this room tonight, a lot of people in here are like really, really, really fucking wide awake and fucking on the wire.
Yeah, of course they are.
Of course they are.
They just want you to slow down a bit, and you do get very tangential. You sort of go off in different ways. So
yeah, I know, but bro, that's the way I've been doing it since 1998.
But it still makes it difficult to listen to. My audience.
I know, but you see, the thing is, man, this is why the government should have hired me to be Alistair Campbell, because I didn't write porn stories. Because, you know, it's all about sound bites. And to me, I've always been interested in promoting the absolute truth. That's why I've ranted on about the whole Rosslyn Chapel, the fact that they've got shit carved into the roof that they didn't discover in America. You know, the first place in America was called New Glasgow because they landed on an island halfway up the fucking Yangtze River. Oh, that's China, but you get me? Yeah. And this is all, I'm not making any of this up. This is nothing that I have heard from fucking David Icke, fucking and Gary Malmsteen or anything, Daniken. This is stuff that I have got to learn for myself.
Mandy, who's listening on Facebook, did you just get done then?
I'm not on Facebook. Listen, Jason.
Look, don't fucking start, don't go. Right, I'm just trying to read some stuff out.
Okay.
From chat room. Mandy Genre, who's watching on Facebook, says, "Why pay fines? It's a con. If you pay up, you prop up their BS." Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I do contest everything. But I haven't driven for quite a while, so I've not really had any problems. But I've had mixed results in different places. So you know, that's what I meant by that. It was just that I was sort of like beat down. And so if anyone else wants to join us, I'm popping the thing in there. Right, let's talk some Taylor. How's things over there in America with your restrictions and stuff? Is it have you still got your freedoms?
Freedoms. We haven't had those in decades. As far as restrictions over here goes for COVID, all I can say is that we always have frickin' what's his face on CNN always and what's her face on NBC always going on and on about how we need to have. Yes, I believe it's California. They introduced mandatory masks inside, even if you're vaccinated.
Right.
And of course, I think it's going on for New York City as well. And with the what's it called? There was an explosion that happened, I think, in Florida about a month ago. Some apartment complex came down or something. I didn't really look into it. It didn't really look interesting to me. But the whole thing.
There's a lot more to that than meets the eye too, especially the people that live there. But don't worry about it. You're right, man. And Cuomo, the governor of New York last week, was sacked by a sex pervert for being a sex pervert, and he couldn't compete with a sex pervert that's the president. So he told him, like, you're a sex pervert, like, quit your job. So the junior sex pervert quit his job. Meanwhile, the biggest sex pervert is still running America.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Joe Biden, he's senile.
The man's senile. He can't complete a thought without forgetting. He got lost at the airport. His wife had to come get him. And I understand. Like, I don't know how long they plan to keep him in there for. Honestly, like we've had some bad presidents, and obviously, presidents are just puppets. But but we've never really had a senile president, which is. I just don't know what they plan to bring in there. It's like if they get rid of him, you could bring in Kamala Harris. It's like. Who's going to become the vice president? It's going to be like Nelson Rockefeller all over again.
Dude. Kamala Harris's mother and father are both Marxist. This is part of the whole socialist system that took over America. But that started, the guy that printed the dollar bill with the fucking all-seeing eye in a pyramid? He was a communist. That's when the communism started under FDR. And that's when that started. The guy that wrote that pyramid, he was the Secretary of State for Agriculture, but he was the one that passed that all-seeing eye pyramid. It's all Marxism. Camel Toe Harris, the biggest mattress that there's ever been since Marilyn Monroe and, I don't know, what's her name? Debbie Does Dallas. I can't even, what was her last name? Anyway, sorry, Ron, you're in jail. Good on you. But, yeah. I mean, dude, listen, you know what? America... I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy called Jimmy Savile, but the guy that's
he's basically your
Well, listen, I tell you what, the way that America, in my mindset today, is that if Britain could dig up Jimmy Savile and turn him into the Queen, then that would be the equivalent of what is running America today. If that makes sense. And that's dude, Hunter, the whole fucking 5 Lakes, the finger tattoos on his back. This goes back fucking decades. Owned solar. Dude, China bought America's debt in 1995.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Savile's basically your guys' Jeffrey Epstein, essentially. They're very similar.
Well, Jeffrey Epstein was son with the younger brother. Jimmy Savile was fucking friends with Prince Charles. Best friends with Prince Charles. In fact, when he had marital problems with his wife, who died in a nasty accident in a tunnel in France, guess who they got to fucking mediate between Charlie and his wife? Jimmy Savile.
Wow.
And the British newspapers, Rupert Murdoch's clan, they were publishing that for fucking week upon week upon week back in the day. And everybody in Britain will know I'm telling the truth on that one.
And the BBC loved him. They love him.
Have you seen the statues created by a guy called Eric Gill around the BBC? The entire BBC building is...
Oh, the Masonic statues and the Freemasons.
Dude. The Masons are small cogs. The Masons don't even know that they're small cogs until you get to the 32nd, 33rd degree and you have to fucking affiliate yourself. Yeah, and then there's another fucking clan above that too, and then you get to the Jesuits. But these statues are hidden in plain freaking sight. Plain sight. Yeah, anybody can go and Google the names, but they don't do it. The BBC has got the biggest archive of film footage in the universe. Anything that ever happened, the BBC have got it on film, even if some people have never fucking seen it. Yeah. And that's why the BBC have access to like 350 million people the world over. There's only 62, 65, 70 million latest in the UK. But the BBC, because of the World Service, can broadcast directly through its news resources, media presentations to 350 million people instantly. That's a powerful institution. And guess what? It's fucking full of shit, as we know.
Of course. And it's no better here in America. We have the big 5 corporations, Disney, News Corp, NBC, Viacom, all that. Yeah, it's and they always talk with the Council on Foreign Relations and Trilateral Commission.
The Trilateral Commission, the Bilderbergers, exactly, man. This is the factions that a lot of the people in your chat actually do know about, but they need to learn more about it because that is the fucking reality. And this goes back to the handful of fucking bankers that create the fear of buying a company. If Donald Trump had been real, 1 minute into being the job, I'm ending the Fed. I'm going back to greenback dollar.
Exactly.
His head blown off for that.
And he wouldn't be fucking shaking Israel's ass.
Yeah. And there was another one back in 1882. We're going to use a greenback dollar. Douchey got shot dead too. Lincoln. And that's what I'm saying, guys. This stuff is written in history. This is not conspiracy. This is fact.
This is all, I mean, this is all very interesting stuff if you can keep up. But I mean, it's not telling us where we're going to go, how we're going to defeat this, how we're going to get to it. I mean, from what you're saying, it's all doom and gloom, and we haven't got a chance.
I don't know, Jason. I don't know if you heard me say earlier on, right? The victory is ours. It's already assured. Okay. That's written. That is written. That is written in their books too. They know it, but they are hell-bound, dude. They have to fucking fool the fucking fools. That's what they're there to do. They have to. This is why they're throwing the shit at the fan faster than ever. Because Obama was supposed to open the golden gates of the Temple of Israel in 2008. He ran behind schedule. Oh, why is that? Fuck me, Satan's plan isn't working. There must be a bigger, better architect, matrix maker, fucking programmer. Call him God, Yahweh, Buddha, call him whatever the fuck you want. But it's not their game. But they're telling us it's their game. And while we believe it's their game, they're going LOL, and they're rubbing their cheesy dicks all over our faces. YouTube, I don't know if that's allowed, but never mind, I said it anyway. But that's what's happening, yeah? It's not their answer. They know that they're destined to failure. No, listen, there is not going to be any kind of like fucking Armageddon or conquest for at least another 280 fucking years. Okay? 280 years. Our great grandchildren are going to be the ones that has to deal with this shit. Yeah, exactly. You see, and this is again to do with people that read the books, because in the books it says the time is almost hidden. It doesn't say it is hidden. Okay, there are books that reveal the speed of time, the speed of light, and it reveals that their speed's faster than the speed of light, which NASA actually fucking owned up to a few years ago too. But you're right, Jason. I'm diverting. Let's go back to like fucking Westlife and Boyzone and Boys R Us and whatever's fucking current in the media newspaper. Plymouth. I didn't even look at Plymouth.
Speaking of boy bands. Speaking of boy bands, we've got Paul Webster's joined us.
Okay, is he in a boy band?
Well, fucking hell, just give me a break.
Oh,
man.
Boy bands. Can we talk about the Beatles and all these wannabe anti-war bands from like Jim Morrison from the 1960s, which were actually funded by the CIA?
What do you mean that Jim Morrison's daddy wasn't George? Dude, I did this last week's show. Jim Morrison's daddy, George Morrison, was the admiral in charge of the fucking Vietnam. Okay, right. The Beatles, another creation. The Beatles were best pals with Jimmy Savile up until the original Paul fucking wiped himself out in a pedestrian crossing in Kilburn. Again, you know what? Jimi Hendrix, his manager, complete and absolute fucking MI5. Joe Meek, Telstar, all the same fucking thing. They're all in the same fucking industry, part of the OTO. We went through this.
Thinking I was I've muted his mic. Webby, good evening, mate.
You all right, Paul? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yeah. I'm sorry, I've muted you. I had to mute your mic, Al Camone. Just take a breather and perhaps have a joint or something. Webby, how are you, mate?
I'm getting there, mate. Quite a few personal issues, as you well know, I was going through. Some major attacks been happening to me, but I'm getting there. Each day at one day at a time, mate. That's how I've had to bring it down to.
So it's been. What have you been? I know you say you've had some personal problems, but I've still seen you. It's, apart from when you were banned for a week, I think it were. I still see you posting stuff on Facebook, so you're still keeping up. What you're making of current events and how things are panning out. Like Plymouth, and where do you think that fits in, if it does at all? And of course, Afghanistan. What do you make of it all?
Well, the Afghanistan thing. I mean, it's quite ridiculous that if anybody thinks that Joe Biden's made any of those decisions, I don't know what to say to those people, because they're still the same people that think if we'd have voted Labour in, we'd be in a different situation in this country. Things are going as seemingly as the agenda wants, because nobody is questioning it. when you were talking about Plymouth, we could always go to the automatic one about gun control, but Dunblane did a fair job on gun control for this country. But the factor is we've not tested the new Mental Health Act and how that's changed yet. Well, maybe because this lad's had mental health issues and that's what we're talking about, and being an incel and being online and talking about all this, well, all of a sudden this Mental Health Act's being changed. It opens quite a few doors. You've got the coronavirus bill that states that a copper can enter a property without warrant on suspicion of adult or child having COVID-19 that you can't test for, that you can't have symptoms of, and they can detain you. Well, if you start shouting about this virus isn't real or this, well, Mental Health Act, one person to section somebody. I think we're in dangerous times because people don't understand only World War II. The propaganda that was being pushed by the Nazi regime is exactly the same. Maybe we want to change a few words and flower it up a bit, but it's exactly the same. When the Nazis said, let's kill people with learning difficulties and disabilities, well, we didn't say let's kill them. We just said let's not resuscitate them. But that's okay. That's okay because nobody kicked up a fuss. These people, they've no life. Well, what about when it's one of your kids or one of your relatives? It's the same people these people who I've seen. One of my mates came around the other day. He's looking to get into acting. He's got an audition coming up, but he can't work for Sky, Netflix, BBC without being double jabbed, without being vaccinated. So he's been vaccinated because he wants to work. He knew about all the stuff about it, but he said, well, I can't work, I can't do. So as long as people are willing to do that, and all my family have all been double jabbed, that's one of my main worries. I'm not anti anything. There was a good analogy, Jace, about a car seat. Here's a free car seat. It's in trial stages, and there's been 1,500 deaths in it, but you can have it for nothing. Are you going to put that car seat in your car? Well, I wouldn't. Am I suddenly anti-car seat? No. I'm suddenly thinking about things. And because people either can't or won't think, I will be apartheid. The medical apartheid is coming. You've got Jennifer Aniston, who's an influencer still. She's got rid of all her vaccinated friends because they're too ignorant or they're too evil to think of others. And I'm sick of it. It's the rhetoric that has gone from totalitarian regimes forever, blaming other people for things, divide and conquer, and the ignorant, stupid masses are still falling for it. And, the fact that you actually bring up questions you're attacked for, it's getting beyond anything that you could even debate with people. You just know as soon as you start speaking to somebody, you just know that they either think or they don't. And then you've got the ones in the middle who think but still comply. Well, I believe those people that think and still comply, they're the most dangerous of the general public because they're the ones that will put me on a cattle car. I just hope I've got Wi-Fi on mine.
Oh yeah, I want to add on to what you said about anti. The thing about the word anti implies a lot of things. Like if you say you're anti-vaccination, like say for example, if I'm anti-space, that's like or like anti-vaxxer. Basically, by saying anti-vaxxer, that's implying that the vaccination, that vaccines are a guaranteed thing to cure you. That's what anti means. Like you're basically denying a reality, but which is why it's not a good idea to use that word.
What word?
Anti. When you say you're anti something,
okay.
Yeah, when you're saying you're anti something, it means that you're implying that something is a fact that that's not up for debate, but you're just denying it.
Well, there's it could mean that you're anti-vaccine. You don't want any vaccines at all. That's a fair analogy. If to call somebody a an anti-vaxxer because they won't take any vaccines whatsoever.
Yeah, but the thing is that using the term anti-vaxxer implies that it means you're implying that vaccines do work, but you're just denying it. That's what anti means. And besides, that's a government term. That's a propaganda term. I think that we should come up with one of our own, like something that's makes far more radic. Fuck! I can't. My vocabulary makes much more sense to use.
I saw something that were interesting today. Somebody had put on Twitter, I think, that it's incredible that the Taliban have got a Twitter account, and
they do?
Trump hasn't.
Wait, they have a Twitter account? The Taliban?
Yeah, Taliban, yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they've got a Twitter account.
Let me guess. Now ISIS got one too.
Well, probably.
ISIS have always had a Twitter account.
Dear God, and people don't see through this fucking shit. Like, oh my God, it's like if there are number one enemies and yet they're the fucking. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's so
they found that some of the tweet. I think it was. What the fuck are you doing? Are you flushing bog?
What?
You've just flushed bog, haven't you?
No, I'm not in the bathroom. I'm not in the bathroom. I'll show you where I'm at. Here, let me turn my camera. I'm in my room.
Oh, right. Well, it sounded like. Anyway, I don't know what I was saying.
You're talking about the Taliban.
Oh yeah, the Taliban and Al Qaeda. They found out that they traced Al Qaeda's Twitter's posts to a government building in London.
Yeah, because MI5, MI6, CIA. Council of Foreign Relations, we created all these agencies, and once we created them in the 80s to fight against the Soviets, and then we just turn on them as soon as we're done with them. It's with Saddam Hussein, it happened with the first Gulf War. Now, I personally don't know why the first Gulf War ended so quickly and why George Bush only lasted one term, but then we got rid of him with the second Gulf War, and then of course we need a new threat. So we just make, so Al Qaeda, people aren't believing that shit no more. So we just had to make this thing called ISIS, who has gone through more imaginary leaders than I can fucking count. You got leaders dead one moment, next moment he's alive again, then he dies again, and it's just a cycle. And then now obviously the terrorism shit isn't scaring people enough anymore. So now we got to bring in the COVID shit. It's a never-ending cycle. It goes back to things like the USS Maine incident in from 1898 with McKinley. You got World War I with Woodrow Wilson. Pearl Harbor, Franklin Roosevelt, Korea with Truman. It goes on and on. Gulf of Tonkin, the fucking baby incubator stories, the bombing of Libya by Ronald Reagan. And that's just America. That's not even going into everything else as well. Like Britain and all that. You got fucking Margaret Thatcher, Tony Blair. Of course, you would know a lot more about that than I do.
Well, all I can say is that everywhere that America's brought democracy to,
democracy.
Yeah, exactly. They've left it in a fucking shithole.
Yeah, it's like people hate on the Muslim. It's like, and talking shit about them coming over here, which of course that was always the plan. Like, we go bomb the fucking countries that Israel doesn't like for the Greater Israel Project, and then as a side effect, the people from those countries have no choice but to come to a Western country because their country is bombed to fuck. I mean, what is it, Libya? Libya has been turned into the number one slave market in the world because of us, because we fucking bombed the shit out of it. And then the citizens come to the country, comes to the Western countries. They breed with the white people, getting rid of the white race, which is what they want. So it's a double victory for them.
Yeah. And I think they're getting troops home because they're expecting some trouble at home. Anyway, I'm gonna release him from his muted cage, and perhaps you and Webby could talk about all this stuff we were talking about getting off and that.
Well,
Webby, hang on, listen, guy, listen. Can I just say, listen, America, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that you know what we know, and you're not a stupid guy, because most Americans, 9 times out of 10, they are. And I've got friends with Donald Trump, Willie Nelson, Jeff Gordon, and a whole bunch who actually, in 1998, they became my friend because I actually educated them, because they went to Google it and they discovered that I wasn't just making the shit up. You're on the right track, my friend, okay? But there is no race. From New Zealand to Alaska to Winnipeg to whatever deepest, darkest color or race hatred thing you can imagine, they got us hating each other over fucking football shirts. They got us stabbing each other to death on Saturday afternoons because of different
divide and conquer.
Shirts. Divide and conquer. The maxim that made an empire. 1715, that was created. White's Club. David Cameron's great-great-great-granddaddy, the world's first major shareholder, manager of HSBC, the world's biggest drug laundering corporation cartel. Follow the fucking paper trail. Q Bono. Oh, Bono. He's pals with George Soros and the Pope. Thank you on that one, Bono. Anyway. Sorry, Jason. Yeah. Paul, see, Webby's another good guy. Webby's one of these hardcore fucking English guys that's fucking solid because he knows that he knows. And Webster, I got no fucking issues with fucking Paul Webster, ever. He is right. There's no need to pay anything. It comes under Unum Sanctum, Attorney Regis, WWII, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. And you can tell, dude, Genesis 1:26, God gave us control over everything. Hey, wait a minute. Are you a dead corporation? Who's standing here as a live representative of you saying that you've fucking got authority over me? Can you actually show me where it's fucking written that you've got authority over me?
God never said that you have authority over me. So if God
hello,
didn't
exactly,
fuck off.
Dude, exactly. A guy called Carl Lentz came to Britain one time and showed him like the Queen's Bench exists, but there's even a Vatican court above the Queen's Bench, and the Vatican court is the one you really want to go for because they're the cunts behind the lie. Unum Sanctum, we own everything. Because Jesus died, he gave the job to the Pope. Ipso ergo facto, Unum Sanctum, we own absolutely fucking everything. Your soul, if you discover Microsoft, if you build an unsinkable ship, if you fucking discover the Luftwaffe, or if you discover the atom bomb, we actually own, because your thoughts are ours. And that's what Unum Sanctum claims. Now, that's the basis of the lie. And when you realize the basis of the lie, you can cut that string and the rest of the fucking umbrella spider's web disappears, if that makes sense. Please, souls, I hope it does.
It does make sense, Brown, but the
thank you. Yeah, man.
The problem that you've got is the mass populace will never understand what you're trying to say there, whereas where I come from, yeah, you're right in what you're saying, but why would I not use something? Why would I not use something that will inevitably make my life easier when I have been signed up for it? However, now this is the premise that I'd work on, because there's a proof of life document that you can get notarized. Expats use it for pensions when they're in opposite countries. Now, if I've got a proof of life document and there's an agreement with Mr. Paul Webster for some debt and there's a claim being made, I could stand not by saying I'm a man, I have no contract, but I can state I'm Paul who has the claim on Mr. Paul Webster. Is there anyone who has a better claim than me? There's my proof of life. This is me. This is my insurance number, blah, 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 blah. What is your claim? Now, if their claim is that I owe them money, then I'll have to bring up, well, is this a customer relationship? Because I haven't got a customer relationship with you, but I do have a creditor's relationship where you're my agent. If they say that they're my agent, now we're going down the right path for them to fulfill their obligation. I've done mine. I've signed and dated the instrument that I'm required to do. So that would get rid of all utilities like that. That is that's a physical instrument that you can see, you can ask for, you can sign, and you know what you're doing with it. It's a Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Service that will not enforce this. They're the coverers. It's not British Gas. It's not United Utilities. They're going into these courts and they're being protected. Why? Because they are given contracts for our equipment, for our use, basically, of our grid. So what happens is, tax is taken from me. That tax is then given. So say I'm the government. I've taken your tax. I now go to British Gas and say how much for the year to go and drill our gas, refine it, pump it into our grid, and then maintain and service our grid. Now, we know that British Gas don't do all that, but that's just for convenience. So British Gas say so much a year. There's your contract. The government signed that contract. Now, then taxes are paid to British Gas. So I have paid British Gas. You have paid British Gas for your gas. But we must balance the accounts. How do we do that? Well, you need to sign to set off the debt. So when I get a signed instrument from a creditor, I can now balance the creditor's accounts, which would lower national debt, no austerity. But we are taught the opposite. We are taught to work hard and pay, which means that we are constantly never balancing the books, and we're taught to do that. That means they can constantly keep austerity going and constantly blame us because it is our fault. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So whereas I won't disagree with you, Brown, on all what you're saying about contracts and the trust. The problem is we're already in it. So before you start telling people that they don't have to pay for that because Genesis, because of God, you're going to lose too many people with that. That's why I've been doing this for 10 years,
Paul,
and you couldn't even get them with your gas is free.
Paul, I am not in disagreement with anything that you said. You are 100 trillion thousand fucking % times right. And if you really wanted to throw it to the next level, what is money under the 1882 Bills of Exchange Act?
Yeah,
it is money.
We're getting a bit of feedback from you, mate.
From me?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I can't do anything about it, Jace. I'm not on the proper stuff. I can only mute it when I'm not speaking if you want.
Yeah, that'll do.
Paul, listen, everybody out there listening, Paul is 1,000 trillion gazillion % fucking right in everything that he said. All the substances that we have got today, it comes under grandfather's rights, and even that's a different fucking battle and a different fucking jurisdiction in court. But what Paul is saying is right. My friend Raf got a fucking phone bill from Orange for 382 quid. I wrote one letter, you owe 382 quid. They wrote me back a letter saying, you owe nothing, please don't fucking contact us again. I put that on Facebook. I used to be on Facebook, and I had doesn't matter. I was interacting with I met Jeremy Corbyn, I met Pearson. I like Jeremy because he agreed to sign my affidavit about Magna Carta, and it's all a fucking lie. That if Jeremy actually did become Prime Minister, he wouldn't be Prime Minister, and he was willing to sign a piece of paper to say that was the fucking truth. That's why I got respect for that guy, okay? And his brother...
So it's like Ron Paul, basically?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, America, welcome back. Exactly. He's like Ron Paul, and there's another good few fucking diehard bastions of proper Republican truth that are they're standing fast and saying, wait a minute, you've put us in this position, but well, now that we're here, we're going to tell the truth. JF Kennedy was one, Bobby Kennedy's one. You get the gist, yeah? Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, you get people that have been brought up in the lie, they fucking stand up and tell the truth, and they've been groomed into that position to tell the truth, and then they get shot down and assassinated and killed. Yeah, but what Paul Webster is saying is basically the truth. Acts and statutes are by consent. They're like accepted by those that accept to be governed. Yeah, Margaret Thatcher you can quote this in a court of law to the highest jurisdiction. This is like the premier of the fucking country, yeah? You can take this. It's like precedents, you know, shit that's happened in law before that they can't really argue with because it's like a fucking ipso. It's like maxims of law, yeah? And what Webby is saying is true. Our grandfathers went out, they fucking fought the Bosch, they fucking threw themselves face down in the Somme so that we could get gas, electricity, water, and the internet, yeah? So why are all these fucking leeches suddenly coming up once? Because the guys that own your electric meter, they only own the fucking meter. They don't own the fucking power, the cables, and the shit that comes into your house. They don't own the shit when it comes into your house. They fucking say, hey, we've got the billing rights in your meter. You can take that away from them through a simple letter. And Paul Webster, guys, I recommend you believe, because Webby, he knows his shit. It's like a whole bunch of other people that have been like Guy Taylor, God rest his soul. They killed Guy Taylor deliberately because he was like beating them in their own fucking courts and they couldn't fucking stand that. So that's why they got rid of Guy Taylor really quickly. Tom Crawford, still alive and kicking ass in the British Constitution group. I'm not advocating anybody go and disappear off this site, but there's a whole bunch of good people in the UK that actually know what they know, and we're party to that elite bunch. And America, you're most welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm you know, since I'm kind of like a child compared to you guys, because you know you guys have been at this for decades.
Well, listen, America, listen. Here's one just for you, because I know that you're really clever. Go and Google the word child and what it really actually means. So, if anybody that is a child, it's a computing term. Don't be a child. Be living, breathing. Blood flows, sweat, equity. Piss, shit, eat, breathe, same as everybody else, and show me a law that says that you've got superiority over me, because there's none in the Bible. And that's the one that they all take their oath to, especially the King James Cambridge edition. That's the one that the bar takes their oath to, and that's why you can beat them in their own courts using the simple truth. You get me? The Bible is the only book you need to beat them. You can take along the Quran, you can take along the Torah, you can take along Black's Law and the Oxford English Dictionary, so that everybody agrees, yeah, we believe that this is interpretation of a word. Okay, let's all go and Google the word Persian. Can we get 24 people in the common law grand jury here? Right, can we all go and Google the word Persian in Black's Law Dictionary?
And the thing about the Bible is it's been infiltrated for the last
Dude,
200
I know.
or so years.
Whoa, that's what I'm telling you, man. Dude, the Bible has been rewritten so many times that it's just like complete fucking hogwash now. It's like CNN and Fox. But the one that the bar put their oath to is the 1608 King James, 1611 King James version, Cambridge edition. Because by 1642, they'd taken a whole bunch of shit out of it because they didn't want people to realize their own fucking true potential under the Creator. Okay? As long as they agree to be Persians, as long as they agree to be slaves and fucking subservient. This is why the Jews were a created fucking... The Jews fucking escaping out of Egypt become the most hated... Dude, you know, talk about a fucking sob sad story, you know, paint a fucking villa in the EastEnders or Coronation Street. Let's call them Jews. Same fucking gig. It's a movie. They sold us that shit to believe that we had to be subservient to some greater fucking superior force. What force? We're all going to fucking die. One of these days, this heart is going to stop beating. It's going to be the last breath. Only 4 people in the Bible escaped it, and I bet you nobody here can name all of them in the next 20 seconds. I could, but I'm not even going to go there because, you know, it's all a complete fucking lie. And if you don't realize that and stand up to the fact that when you go to bed tonight, see if you clasp your hands together. Actually, don't even have to clasp your hands together. Put them down on the ground, put your nose and put it against a wall. Doesn't matter what religion rely upon, you know, whatever. You contact the one that's given you the inspiration to like think the way that you do and say, hey, enlighten me. It'll happen. That's what Solomon asked for. Solomon says, God, can you give me a kingdom that no man may have a use for after me? So Solomon happened, and all of a sudden he got wiped out of history and didn't exist again. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah. Webby, you're all into all that Bible shit, aren't you?
Yeah.
So what do you feel? What do you feel about Mr. Walsh just said?
Well, considering I've always known there's something after this life, I've always known about the Bible stories. I was reading the Bible as a kid. My mum bought it before RE when I went to school. I was really into it. I thought the really good stories, David and Goliath. I thought that's a really good story. That inspires me to think that I could do things like that. Then my mum said, they're only stories. So I never bothered with it ever again after that, apart from just school. When my dad was killed, however, I always knew there was something after this life, and experiences that I've had over the time. And then when I lost my mum, I went into mediumship, and I was good at mediumship. I was asked to go around churches to give messages. I could still do it now. I'm still quite good at it. But when I started with all this stuff and studying law, and I realised that the Bible is law, and in law, if you're not simple, you're not correct. And I can't disagree that there's been a lot of variations and changes, but with all the software and stuff we've got now, we can compare not only the original Hebrew text to the Greek text to the English text and find, really good true meanings for English from that. And the King James original version is possibly the closest that I've seen anyway in the English versions, because you've got like the new versions and stuff like that, the ASVs, who change maybe a subtle word like charity. Charity is very specific. If you give charity to somebody, that means they can't eat, they can't provide for themselves, they've no shelter, they've no warmth, no clothing. So you give them charity so that they have all that. But the new versions of the Bibles changed it to love. Well, I can love somebody and not help them. So that means then, as a Christian, you aren't acting as a Christian, because as a Christian you give charity. Well, as a Christian, if you don't give charity but you give love, well, that means you can turn up to church on a Sunday, arrange some flowers, say amen, and think I can do what I want for the rest of the week. Well, that's what I thought. I thought, well, we all go to God. We all go, I know teachers who say, well, if you're a Muslim, you'll go to God on a bike. If you're a Christian, you'll go in a car. If you're Hindu, you'll go on a bus. But we all go to the same place. Yet the oldest text, and I'm not talking about religions, because I never got a religion. I never got that dogma because my mum and dad weren't religious. So I've been able to openly study all this on my own, read it on my own, not people tell me, come up with stuff and think, oh, well, that's interesting. What's this? And then debate it and see where we go. So when I'm reading that text and I'm getting feelings and stuff, that would be different. However, I've read the gospel. I understood the gospel. It's simple. If you believe God loved man that much, he manifested through his own son, and he loved you that much that if you believed in him, all your sins will be forgiven and nailed to that cross. But I wanted to believe, but I didn't believe. There's a massive gap between believing something and not believing. There's no in between. It's dark outside now here. I couldn't convince anybody that it's daylight, but because it isn't. So I couldn't do that. And yet in the last 10 years, I've had virtually everything taken from me and left in a pool of my own sweat and tears, smashed out of my face with nothing to carry on for. And I gave up. And that's when I was saved. And then all I can say before you interrupt, all I can say from that is I'm a different beast from then. Because if I go back 10 years, I know that Paul Webster, but I'm not that Paul Webster. I don't think the same. I don't act the same. So something changed in me. And then when I read the gospel that time, it clicked and I didn't have questions. And that's where it is from faith, because I don't have answers to why I believe that Jesus is who he is. I don't have answers that I can give to somebody who either doesn't care or is interested. I can't give you those answers because they're your answers. Revelations is your revelation, not mine. I can't tell you what revelation means. I can only tell you some prophecies that still haven't happened, but there's prophecies that have been fulfilled. But what am I looking at now? Well, I'm living in a time where everybody's saying we're going to go cashless. There's not going to be any cash. So that means, well, how do we do that?
Never
Well,
been
Bill
any
Gates.
cash.
Bill Gates, funnily enough,
1882.
has the answer with the cashless
Bills and
chip.
Exchange Act.
And that cashless chip actually states the patent number of 060606. Now, if I don't have that chip, I can't buy or sell. In Revelations, if I don't take the mark of beast, I can't buy or sell. Is prophecy being fulfilled? Or
No,
is it
it's
fulfilling
being-
itself? We don't know.
Dude, it was written
No,
as a
that's all
script.
we have is questions.
It was written as a script back in 1666. Okay, that's when it was written. Back then,
So
that was
the ancient
program.
Hebrew text was written back in 1660s.
No, dude. Let's just take this back to a scientific thing, okay? Energy does not die, okay? That's a fucking known physical fact, scientific fucking fact. Paul, let's just drag this back down to the basic level. Energy is eternal, okay? Energy can change form and shape and fucking sound dimensions. Energy is constant, okay? We, the living soul, that's where we are, okay? Never mind the rest of the story, okay? Never mind the rest of the story, whatever it may be. I go for the creator and the fact that we're all going to get called to a day of judgment, day of accountancy, and so on and so forth. That's why I'm here tonight, okay? I've read a whole bunch of books, 16 versions of the Bible. That's why I can tell you categorically that the Bar Association took their oaths on the 1611 Cambridge edition, not any other edition. Not the fucking Oxford edition, not the fucking Kent edition, not the Cardiff edition, not the Nottingham edition, not the Newcastle edition, the Cambridge edition. Because by 1642, they'd rewritten the whole shit and they chopped out about 8 fucking chapters because of words. Words. WURDEZ. Words. Get me? That's all I'm saying, man. There is no controversy. When the creator decides to fucking tell you, hey, wakey, it's an individual thing. It's not, I was in the church, I suddenly threw away all my jewelry, I gave my Rolex watch, and I even fucking gave away the fucking 25 bag of crack in my back pocket, and all of a sudden, the preacher reached down, threw me backwards across the seat and said, you were saved, and hey, suddenly I was saved, and now I want people to donate like fucking 25 bucks to my private jet so I can tell everybody else how I was saved. Dude, we've seen through all of that shit, okay? The reality is that nobody survives this fucking game, which it is. All the world's a stage, each one of us is 15 minutes. That was another Shakespeare thing, but you get me, yeah? Same thing. While you're here...
You've just repeated everything that I've ever heard from any man ever in my life, right? But when I read the gospel that last time, those words were different. Those words were different because those words spoke to me differently.
Yeah.
So,
dude, listen, bro. Listen, Jason, Paul. Listen, can I just say, again, you're going to hate me for this, but go read the fucking Quran. The Quran's first words is read. Read in the name of your Lord that created. Read in your Lord teaches by means of the pen, teaches man that which he knew not. What was the second surah revealed? Surah 68, Al-Kalam, the pen. I know, you ain't going to go and do that.
You know, mate.
Dude,
I've done all this. If you don't think I've studied, listen, if you don't think I've studied theology, if you don't think I've studied theology and you think I can just go and read the Quran and then I'm going to change, I've done all this, bro. I can't tell you. I can't
if you're going to change, it's because God's going to change. But listen, let's take this back down to the fucking street level, yeah? In the Bible, in the Quran, in the Torah, do you know what it says? Not a leaf falls without God's permission, not a germ passes. So if anybody believes in God, right, and they say, hey, God, I've got faith in you, but guess what? I really don't have faith in you, so I'm going to go and get this fucking mRNA fucking toxic venom death injected into me a couple of times over because I've got faith in you. Muslim, Hindu, take your fucking pick. You don't believe in God. You don't believe in fuck all, but apart from your pre-programmed brain that's telling you to go out and do what the government tell you because the media tell you, the BBC tell you, the newspapers tell you. And guess what? Your entire self-esteem fucking whole...
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Sorry about that, Webby. Are you there?
Yeah, I don't know what to say because he goes on everything apart from what I've spoken about. And I understand what he's saying. I understand all the manipulation and everything that's going on, but you're asking me about scripture, so I'm telling you about scripture, and he's taken me into court in 1666. Yeah. Yes, statutes and acts have been written based on that Bible, but you can't mix the two. You can't mix the two. If you're asking me about scripture, I can only tell you from that. I mean, he's still going on. He doesn't even know you've muted him. This is the point. That you can't have. It's great to have all that knowledge and information, but for it to all come out in a big gobbledygook like that, it doesn't make sense to people, and it just does me head in because I've had an experience that I can't explain to people, Jace. I can't sit there and tell you how you should believe in Jesus because he died for your sins, because I didn't believe it until I was saved. And then when I was saved, I can't explain it because it's a gap from wanting to just believing, to knowing. There's a big gap. I don't know how you fill that gap because I haven't seen, I haven't witnessed, I don't know any of that. But to say that, well, I'm just one of the ones that have been duped by everybody because, I mean, somebody's put in about theology isn't the Quran. I'm not saying that the Quran is theology. I'm saying that the whole remit of all religions, I've studied, I can't say them all because I don't even think, apart from watching Star Wars, I've studied the Jedi religion. But all these religions all have the same common themes. Let's love everybody, do what you want, but come from love. Let's worship plants, let's goddesses, gods everywhere. There's gods and goddesses everywhere. Well, that's every religion apart from Christianity. Christianity is totally different because it says, believe that Christ died for your sins and then stop being naughty and follow him. That's all. Do you believe that I died for your sins? Yes. Then stop being a knobhead and stop sinning. That's it. That's how simple it is. And Jesus said there is only one way to eternity. It's one way to the Father. Yet all the other religions teach we all go there with it, whatever way we do, just as long as we don't murder and we don't do this. That's not what the Hebrew text says. The ancient text says. None of it says that. It says there's one way. So I always read everything, Jace. And yes, we are all energies. Yes, and energies don't stop. And I understand the physics. I've studied it. I was doing the New Age stuff when I was, ordering from the universe and working on energies and crystal healing and hands-on. I've done it. But I always was left with something missing. And it was that thing that I've been looking for all my life, something after this life. But what is it? Well, I've done mediumship. I've never heard or seen spirit. I got images and I interpreted those images. Those people who I gave those messages to took them. But I don't know where those messages come from. And then all of a sudden, 2017, when I had this experience, everything changed for me in my heart, in my head, how I thought. Everything changed for me. So that's all I can say. But to keep going back to saying, well, you've been duped, this has changed, that's changed. We're all energy. No, I've heard it all. I've done it all. And I understood it back then until this. So now I'm stuck with, well, I think this could be right. And then I'm living in a time, Jace, where I can't recognize this world. This is a completely different world to anything I've ever seen in my lifetime, and certainly what my parents and any of my family's ever said. Nobody's experienced what we are experiencing. And I published an article that was, I think it's from World War II, but it was American propaganda, and it was when I'm presuming the US aren't involved in the war at this stage, because this was a picture depicting what Hitler was saying to the Americans. Hitler's trying to get us to believe this, and this.
Yeah, FDR loved that shit. He fucking that was his plan from the start. FDR's. He was cousins with Churchill. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to,
I don't even know what you said, mate.
I just said that Roosevelt. He was working with Churchill and the Zionists from the very start, the people controlling him, and that was the whole plan: get America to hate Germany, hate Japan. Think they're going to try to conquer the world, Pinky and the Brain style, do. And then Pearl Harbor was their excuse, and the timing of the timing of the embargo of Japan, a few days after Operation Barbarossa. It's like, oh, but it's just coincidence. It's just coincidence, what people will say. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you, Webby.
Oh, anyway, that bloke went. The guy, Anchovy fucking Battenberg, he left of his own accord, and then he came back, and he came back after about 5 minutes. And I've sent him away again. So he's just been and called us knobheads. And said he's not coming back. So there we go. Waste of time, he said. There you go. Good to see you all. Free speech and no tyranny. Bye-bye now. Oh, look, a fart in a spacesuit. Glad to see you're all free speech. Fuck me. We're that. We're it. Fucking, you could say what you want. For a start, you were just going on. If somebody had asked you about fucking, I don't know, fucking UFOs, and you'd probably get it back to fucking some mythological time. So, look, if you want to disappear and not come back, that's up to you. If you want to change it to your ways and the way that you present yourself and just interrupting people all the time. And Eve, I could see you twitching when Webby were talking, and you put your hand up and you're twitching and that. We were trying to have a nice, relaxing chat, and it just weren't working. So it's up to you anyway. I don't think. I'm not going to miss you anyway. Lads, it's been 2 hours and 12 minutes, so I'm going to give you both a couple of minutes to just wrap up, I'll start off with you, Webby. What do you want to say to people? When you're coming back.
Say again.
When you're coming back.
Coming back what?
Coming back, doing your interviews and that.
Like I said, I've got some major issues going on at the minute, Jace. I can't go into it on air because there could be ramifications. There could be ramifications legally later, so I can't go into it. But to say what has happened to me, it's kicked the confidence out of me, Jace. It's put me back 10 years. I've been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder because of it. I'll tell you about it again privately, mate. But it's been a major issue, and it's been a struggle to get up out of bed and go to the shop to buy stuff. To be fair, so. I've not been like this since 10 years ago when I was having armed police called on me and things like that. So what has happened has put me back a little bit. So before I unravelled, I've decided to take time out and get myself right properly this time, because I'm trying to do it without any coping mechanisms, i.e. alcohol. So considering I'd started drinking again last year because of these issues, I've not drank now since the 13th of June. Like I said, I'm taking each day as it comes. what I would say to people is, it's all well and good either being ignorant and wanting to call people names who may have more information than what you have, because it might upset your illusions or whatever your life is. But the problem being is, at some point, the knock will come on your door, and will there be anybody left to speak up for you when it's your time? Because I often bring up the Martin Niemöller quote, who was a pastor in America, said it so many times on the show, Jace, that when he was in Germany, he didn't say anything because when they came for the trade unionists, because he wasn't in the trade union, blah, blah, blah. When they came for him, there was nobody left because everybody else had been taken. Well, people are being put into positions by media. Is it time to get rid of your unvaccinated friends? It's a question. They're not pushing anything, but they look for the feedback. They look, if there's no kickback, let's just push it further. And people are stupid and people are ignorant. And those two things that are combined are being pushed now. We're being told that because of this past year with exam results and everything, they're on about scrapping A-levels so that everybody looks a bit more together. So we're going to have just like a modicum of modesty. We're not going to have outstanding people because those outstanding people are going to be chosen to be outstanding. So then you're going to have people vying for things who might be clever. You know, we're going backwards. We're going backwards. And that's exactly what all this has been, the lockstep program. It's about taking us back, not letting us get too comfy. We've got to, now it's Afghanistan again. Oh, well, we can't let that become a great big terrorist breeding ground again. Why? You build these breeding grounds whenever you need them. You know, Prince Andrew's going to get sued. What can we do? Well, let's come out of Afghanistan. Let's talk about that instead. So people are easily distracted and they're easily fooled. And then you've got the people who just want an easy life. They want everything to be good and everything to be happy, and they don't want traumas, and they'll do anything to not get those traumas. Well, I tried that. I tried to not get any of these traumas, and they wouldn't leave me alone. So I had to make a stand, but nobody would help. And that's the issue. People won't help. People won't do anything. How many times have you said it, Jace? Until that knock comes on the door and they say, we're going to do this to you now, that's when you'll decide whether you'll do anything. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be too late by then, because most of the people are just thinking that if they can comply to get the freedoms back. And I can't find anywhere in history that's ever happened, Jay. So I'd give up trying to convince people. But if you haven't got any questions, then I think it's already too late for you. But the people who I know who have been double jabbed, who are now seeing all the hypocritical two-faced talking that's going on and the rubbish, how can those people all do that with no mask? But I have to do that. Well, why didn't you ask that question before you got all your family double jabbed? Because that could be irreversible. Who knows what's to come from that? And I think that's the biggest thing, Jace. Nobody knows what's coming. We can all debate it. Some of it's been written down. It's, will they get away with it? Well, if they get away with it, we know what they're going to do. And that's going to be a mass culling of a lot of people. And until it happens, people won't do anything, will they?
No, it's a little bit like the end of One by One. Before you know it, it's crept up on you. There's tanks in street, and you're having to show your papers. And if you've not got them, then you're going to be chucked it back of a van and took to somewhere, I don't know, and then they'll find out, they'll be able to scan you. I'm lost for words as to where we're going with this. Fucking complete and utter fucking nonsense. We've got fucking nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's fucking Wurzel Gummidge's Prime Minister. Fucking Joe Biden's like a fucking dementia patient. who's fucking nearly at the end of his life. And these people,
Only Kissinger was like that.
you know, these are people that were supposed to think that we're supposed to think are running things, running the show. Taylor, what about you? One last thing from you. What do you want? Oh, we know this can go on, Webber. So you are going to have to stick around, because if we fucking start, you're going to have to help me stop it.
Don't worry, I've gotten better at that. I just want to say, I don't care how many people think want to get on me about this. I personally think that if Hitler was here right now, he would say he would fucking fix all this shit, just like he did in Germany in the 1930s.
How do you want me to feel that one, James?
Yeah.
This is exactly what was happening in 1920s Germany. It was just happening on a much faster scale, and now it's being applied worldwide. Hitler got rid of that, and that's what led to the whole world being against them, the democratic and communist world, all against a single country, a single man, all because he threw out the Jewish ideology.
Well, I think it was because he invaded Poland. But
dude, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Can you? Who's in charge?
Well, it definitely wasn't Churchill.
He invaded Poland, but it wasn't really Poland. It was part of the German land.
Yeah.
It was part of Germany that had been given to Poland as part of
He asked the Poles fucking dozens of times. He asked the Poles dozens of times, even up to the days before the invasion. Do something about our Germans being slaughtered, and do something about this Treaty of Versailles land that was given to you. And of course, because they had assurances from Roosevelt and Churchill, and Daladier, I think his name was, the head of France. They told him, don't have any negotiations with Hitler. Don't settle for any peace agreement. Do whatever you can to provoke him, to force him into attacking you, so that we have an excuse to declare war. And that's why Chamberlain was forced to do it, because Chamberlain didn't want to declare war. He was forced to do it, and that's why they got rid of him in 1940 to replace him with Churchill.
I wonder why there was the big furore over Germany and Poland, yet in 1936 the Russians had already invaded Finland and took over Finland.
Exactly, because the Russians. It's like the double standard. They invaded Poland on September 17th, and yet no declaration of war on the Soviet Union, despite the fact they did the exact same thing as Hitler.
But Uncle Joe was a nice fellow, wasn't he, Taylor?
Yeah, he was a nice. Yeah, it's like just like the New York Times was saying in the 1930s. And Roosevelt acknowledged the Soviet Union. He's like, they're our best friends, just like Israel's our best friend. They only have our best interests at heart.
Listen to this. This is the American propaganda poster that was put out during the war, before America got involved after Pearl Harbor. So it's a picture of Goebbels shouting over a microphone with the headline saying, "Hitler wants us to believe that." Now, these are what they've numbered. Number 1, democracy is dying. This is what Hitler wants the Americans to believe. Democracy is dying. The Americans' armed forces are weak. The new order is inevitable. Jews cause everybody's troubles everywhere. We are lost in the Pacific. Our west coast is in such grave danger there is no point in fighting on. The British are decadent and sold us on a bill of goods. Some sort of peace can be made with Nazi Germany. The cost of the war will bankrupt the nation. Civilian sacrifices will be more than we can bear. Our leaders are incompetent, our government incapable of waging war. Stalin is getting too strong and Bolshevism will swoop over Europe.
Exactly. Yep.
Aid to our allies must stop. This is a white man's war. Our real peril is the Japanese, and we must join Germany to stamp out the yellow peril. We must bring all our troops, weapons, and back to the United States and defend only our own shores. The Chinese, the British, the Russians will make separate peace with Japan and Germany. American democracy will be lost during the war. The two-party system is dead. Congressional elections will never be again be held. Americans will not be fooled. Now, I don't know how many of them you could actually take and apply to today, if any.
Let's be honest here.
You can see the propaganda on both sides there, on every side. So how has people not got questions? How can they just buy in to one ideology if they've got access to other information? I understand it.
If you've got Puntins for a fortnight.
It also says a lot when, as soon as the war was over, how Germany and Japan were our enemies, but then and Russia was our allies. As soon as the war was over, Germany and Japan were our allies, and the Soviet Union was our enemy. And the friends and foes just keep changing all the time, depending on what propaganda nonsense they want to do. And that's what led to fucking the Cold War and all this other bullshit. It's like who put Ho Chi Minh in charge in fucking Vietnam? It's like how did the Soviet Union get their hands on China? Because we gave it to them. That's how they got Korea. That's how they got fucking Vietnam. That's what led to all that bullshit. People want to hold Churchill and Roosevelt on a pedestal and freaking call them war heroes. Fuck are they? Fucking, honestly, like, obviously pretty much any president or prime minister you could think of is a load of shit. But I think that these two are probably toward the top when it comes to just evil, disgusting scumbags. Truman too, but it's like, and about what you just said about the propaganda poster. They don't tell you why Japan's in China, why they're in China to begin with. It's because because the fucking Soviet Union's trying to overthrow China, and Bolshevism spreading throughout Asia. Japan had to protect themselves. If they said themselves, if we are in China, the Bolsheviks will will take over, and we will be destroyed by it. And that's exactly what happened at the end of the war. China became communist. Japan pretty much was destroyed by it. That's exactly what happened. And yet we blame them for it, and we say that we say they deserve the fucking atom bombs or whatever, or carpet bombing, whatever you believe that was dropped on Japan. Also, funny how Harry Truman was a 33rd degree Freemason. And the atom bomb that dropped on Nagasaki, ground zero was Urakami Cathedral, which was the Vatican of Asia, the largest the largest cathedral in all of Asia, and that was ground zero to get rid of Christianity in Asia after the war's end, because the emperor had to renounce his divinity.
Okay, well, I think that just about sums it up for tonight.
My fault for going on and on. Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm just glad we didn't get that other guy on, what's his name, Buffoonery Almighty, and talking about fucking Cold War, because it would have just blinded.
Oh, you have somebody that talks about the Cold War?
He's just what comes out of his mouth. It's like you're digging through just random stuff and through his brain, and it's just coming out of his mouth all at once. And it's all together.
That's what I meant, Jace. It's not his information; it's the cohesion. The people who were listening to that wouldn't have a clue. He jumped from subject to subject. People would just be switched off. And I wouldn't put him down about his information. He's a knowledgeable fella, but to ask a question, and then when I start to answer, he starts shouting over me, and to the point where I didn't even realise you'd had to mute him. It's just, I don't know. Everybody's got their opinions, and when people ask me for my opinion, they inevitably don't want it, because as soon as I start speaking, they either try and shut me up or they call me names. It's, you know, if you don't want my opinion, that's fine. Don't have it. But, you know, to have an opinion on scripture and then start to tell me that, you know, I'm missing something because of all that. And, you know, that's like, that's not just like spent 50 years looking for something, but the last 10 years actually studying to try and find not just about law and a history and all that, but to sit and do all that and then to just have it, no, you're missing it. Well, no, explain it. And then you go off on a tangent. We're talking about scripture. We're talking like, you know, biblical, and he starts talking about writing statutes and acts for the bar system in 1666. I can't work like that. I can bounce from subject to subject, but let's have a bit of filling in. Well, yes, there were loads of things taken out of the Bible. The book of Enoch 1 for number 1. If anybody bothers to have the time to go and read Enoch, if Genesis is the schematic diagram of the building blocks and of how life began, then Enoch colours it in. Enoch will tell you what fallen angels were, what the fallen angels' names were, what they taught man, how man used that, and how man killed this world. It's not about God. God doesn't punish people in this world. This world is here because we were already fallen and we have a chance to go back, but we didn't have that chance. Because when we fell, there was no law. So that meant you could do anything and it wouldn't be classed as sin. Then the law was introduced because the law was introduced to show you that you're a sinner. So if you are killing people, that's a sin. But before, it wasn't because nobody knew any better. Now, the only way that you can ever be right with God is to fulfill the whole of the law. And there's not one man or woman who can do that because we are failures. If you fail in 1% of those statutes and laws, you fail everything. So you can't be saved. But God gave us one mechanism. That's what the text says. There's only one way. And that's the only, and I don't use the term religion because Catholicism, I'm a Christian. Well, are you a Catholic? Yes. Well, I don't think Catholicism is Christianity. Because Catholicism is Catholicism, like Protestantism, the Church of England, all that, they're all their own set of religions and circumstances. And, you know, I can go to Church of England, I can pray on a Sunday, I can arrange flowers, but then I can come home and put a Christmas tree up. Well, that is dividing two kingdoms, according to Scripture. That is a pagan tradition, putting a Christmas tree up. So you bring in paganism into Christianity. That's dividing a house that can't stand. Scripture tells you that. So when you see it plainly and simply, that's the understanding. It's simple. I'm not saying it's simple to do it, because that's not, because I sit with my family at Christmas, but I don't celebrate Christmas as in Christmas, because I understand what's behind it. But to be with my family on that one day, because most of the time we're all busy, everything in our lives has all been turned upside down. It's all inverted, whether we want to talk about energies or what. Everything's inverted. But the simple basis of those scriptures are very simple. When we start complicating it and then saying, well, energy is this, and look, because I'm a man and I can think about things, and look and how I can discern things. Look how clever am I? Well, Scripture tells you to not think that you're so clever that you miss the simplicity of a doctrine like the gospel. And I missed it so many times, and I had to lose everything before it smacked me right in the face, kicked me in the balls, picked me up and said, what are you going to do about it? And you take each day as it comes, Jace, because I don't know how else to explain it, because I can't just say, hey, if you do this, this, and this will be your salvation, and you'll be awake, and you'll know everything. No, it doesn't work like that. That's why it's called faith. And I can only explain my experience and where I am at with that now. It's a strange one, Jace, but it's as good as I've got for it.
Well, listen, each to their own. Everybody's got their own got their own opinions and have their own experiences. It'd be interesting if you could put into words your experience and that. I think that's for another night. So I'm going to say au revoir to everybody. Thank you to I'm a Jew, Taylor over there in Washington, and to Paul Webster, and of course to Miss Brahms, our first earlier guest. Who again, it wasn't the information. Mandy keeps putting in that the information does go about. Yeah, it does. You can go down tangents, but when it's packaged in the way that he packages it, and how he overpowers other guests and me, it tries to overpower me. It tries to talk over me. So that it's not his information. It's the way that it was being spewed out, and it literally were being spewed. So anyway, listen, thanks everybody for listening tonight. Thanks to everyone who was joining the chat room as well. It's been lively in there. I know there's not much going on, is there? No, not many shows or things I'm not seeing. People doing many, unless they're quite big. So our audience has gone down. I expected it by a third. It's like people said, they're not getting the notifications on either on Facebook or on
YouTube is shit.
Yes, let's say that. Yes, thanks for that, Mr. Jew.
I just have to say, I just have to say, I've got, I'm in a little bit of an agreement with Sean Hamer about Jordan Maxwell. I've done the Theosophy books with Helena Blavatsky, and it's very easy with the Zeitgeist stuff and the Jordan Maxwell stuff to associate it with all astrotheology and things like that, because that's what man is very good at, is copying things. All I can say is that the most ancient texts that we have go back and they talk about God providing his own sacrifice, because that's what happened when Christ went to the cross. The Levitical system of animal sacrifice was done away with. So if you're still thinking that you're coming from the old Levitical stuff, you're still not saved. You can't be saved by works. It doesn't matter how many good deeds you do. According to Scripture, you will not be saved. So we can keep talking about stories and people adding to it. I'm going to go back to the oldest text that we've got. That's the basic understanding of it. That's my understanding of it now, until something changes. Because if I die and that's not true, then it won't matter anyway. But if I die and it is true, then you've got forever to be upset with yourself about not thinking about things a little bit more.
Well, there's a fucking lot of people going to be in that category.
Aren't they just?
Right. Anyway, thanks, guys. I might do Friday. I've said I'd do them last two and not done them because one with bellyache and my IBS flaring up a bit, and other were tiredness or something. So I might do Friday, I might not. Have a look out for it. Thanks very much. Tell other people about us. Give us a thumbs up as well. It's always nice. It makes me feel all warm inside when I look at the thumbs ups. Apart from when we have Neil Sanders on and the thumbs down, sometimes more than the thumbs up, which never happens. Anyway, take it easy, everybody. Speak to you soon. Ta-ra a bit.